Oh, how about that? The intro music lasted exactly long enough for my Switch to time out on me and fade out and go big sad mode. Anyway, hello! It's time! It's here, at last! There are those who said this day would never come. What are they to say now? This is the moment we've been waiting for after years and years of asking. They finally said yes. The Mad Lads at Nintendo finally decided to give us Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch. You can thank the Mario Galaxy movie for this, if nothing else. We have finally been able, no longer will I have to play it on the Wii U. I finally have the ability to play it on the go with upgraded resolution and textures. Oh, the beauty. Oh, it's how long I have waited for this day. And is that the soundtrack I see? It sure is. Okay, so out of the gate you can already listen to the incredible soundtrack. We will not be doing that. But it's there if you'd like. How much does Mario Galaxy do for Switch? It was $40. Which it's up to you. You're gonna have to make a personal choice as to whether or not you think that's worth it for you. But that's all you really can say. Is this worth it for you personally? And you're the one who has to make that choice. And I don't really mind what your choice is, as long as you don't try to impart that onto anybody else. And we'll go Toad again. I will indeed use this icon. Choose the mode you want to play. I will be doing regular mode. I'm glad assist mode is there. Very, very happy assist mode is there for those who would like it. But we will be going just normal. I like that they have chapter titles in Galaxy 2. Just one of many very small quality of life things. World 1, the great space journey begins. Let's-a go. Isn't it copyrighted? Well, yes, but I mean, I'm gonna be playing the whole game, so it's not like if I played the music tracks in the music player, it wouldn't make much of a difference as far as copyright is concerned. And this channel isn't monetized, so it doesn't really bother me if Nintendo comes for this stream. Now, let me tell you a news story that also begins with Stardust. Shimmering stardust falls on the Mushroom Kingdom once a century. That time had come again. Okay, this is the one that they didn't voice. And I read out the letter in the first game, thinking it was the second, because they actually do voice this letter in the first game, not the second. Would you like to share some cake while we watch the shooting stars? Meet me at the castle. Peach. You do not know how long I've waited to finally be able to play Galaxy 2 on Switch. This is... Oh, man. This is so cool. It's a small thing, but the crisper visuals are really nice. Yeah, just... It was... I did notice that when I was playing through the games earlier this year. It was kind of jarring going from the super hyper crisp visuals of Galaxy 1 on 3D All-Stars to the... not so crisp visuals on the Wii for Galaxy 2. Which is not to say that Galaxy 2 was ever a bad looking game. It most certainly was not. It's one of the best looking games on the Wii. It's just that when you compare it to the Switch, obviously it doesn't hold up as nearly as well. The strange little fellow seemed confused. Was he lost? He seemed to take a shine to Mario. Mario's cap filled with warmth as he felt a new power surging through him. Am I playing in 4K as well? No, I'm playing in 1080p. I could technically use a pass-through to play at 4K while still streaming at 1080p, but I prefer to keep things as simple as possible when I'm live streaming. No need to add in any unnecessary variables that could further complicate things. Am I ready for my Google search to be devoured by the movie instead of the game? You know what? The way I look at it is maybe the Mario Galaxy movie will allow more people to discover the beauty that is the Mario Galaxy duology. Because that is ultimately what you would hope to see out of any kind of video game adaptation is the possibility of more people being exposed to a game you're passionate about. You're too late, Mario. The power of the stars is already mine, and look what else I got. Wah-ha-ha-ha. I'm huge. Even scarier up close, huh? Maybe I'll have Peach bake me something for once. I sure could go for a galaxy-sized slice of cake right now. I'm way too huge for this puny planet. I deserve an empire that's more me-size, and I'll put it in the center of the universe. Have fun with your stupid mushrooms. This is how the game looked when we were younger. Yeah, essentially. That is the main goal of people often talk about when it comes to video game remasters, is they're just trying to make the game, they're trying to update the game to make it look exactly the way you remember it looking when you played it as a kid. Because obviously when you're a kid, you're thinking it's the most groundbreaking thing you've ever seen in your life. And then time goes on, technology advances, you get older, and then it sort of fades from that esteemed status in your mind. But then remasters and re-releases can sort of supplant that image in your head. Mario, where did that monster come from? He took your princess to the center of the universe. You must hurry and save her. Oh, Master Luma. Young Master Luma, did you get thrown overboard too? Good thing you're safe. I see. So you're going to stay in Mario's cap? That should be safe for now. But Mario, you have other things to worry about, like saving the princess. But how? I know. With young Master Luma's help, you can use the power of the stars. And we Lumas can help a little too. And as thanks for saving our friends, we'll send you into space to get that monster. Now let's go after them. Am I going to beat this in one sitting? God, no. Galaxy 2 is even longer than the first game. There's no way I could beat it. Even under normal circumstances, there's no way I could beat it in one sitting. But considering, like, I don't usually stream during the week. I'm making an exception today because Galaxy 2 coming to Switch is such a huge milestone just in life. So I am willing to make an exception today to stream during the week, even though I ordered it, because you know, more people can tune into streams during the weekend, and during the week I usually tend to focus more so on making mainline videos for the channel. Like, just literally minutes before I hopped on stream, I was editing something. I was doing some audio editing for an upcoming project. So this is certainly this is out of the ordinary. This isn't something I normally do, but I make exceptions for the big things like this. So even under ordinary circumstances, it would be rare to see me streaming during the week. But I'm also getting on a plane tomorrow at noon, so I need to do last-minute packing things today. So I'm on a strict time limit today. I'm gonna do the first 2 worlds, and then I'm gonna call it. I will not be doing a 5-6 hour stream like I did on Sunday. This will be a very, very strict, do the first 2 worlds, and then I'll go do other things today. That's the game plan. But I will be finishing the whole game on stream at a later date. Just not today. Today is not the day for that to be happening. Who's the best voice actor in the Mario movie? Probably Jack Black would be my pick. It certainly is not Chris Pratt or Seth Rogen or the guy who did Cranky Kong. It would certainly not be any of those. I guess Charlie Day is another contender. Charlie Day's Luigi was pretty solid. I'd probably go for Jack Black. Would probably be my answer. Am I gonna do Grandmaster Galaxy? Well, when I get there, yeah. That's the goal is to beat the game, and the game is not truly complete. Or the goal is to complete the game, and the game is not truly completed until you clear the perfect run in Grandmaster Galaxy. I'm also glad they have proper checkpoint. I doubt they would, but I do wonder if they would add physical checkpoint markers like they have in Galaxy 2 in Galaxy 1. Just so you have some kind of visual indicator for where your progress is in the level and whether you've crossed a checkpoint. You like the new text fonts? I'm neutral. It caught me off guard when I first saw it because I'm just like, why did they change it? It seems like it's one of those things where there's no like reason. I can't imagine why they would have changed it because it's just such a harmless thing. But by the same token, you know, it doesn't really impact anything, so I'm not offended that they changed it. I'm just curious as to why, I guess. I don't have any strong feelings for or against the changing of the text font. Playing a top 10 game of all time? Hell yes, I am. I love Galaxy 2 so much. I am extremely happy to finally be able to play it in the same way that I've been able to play Galaxy 1. And yeah, the gyro controls are still just as seamless as they were in 3D All-Stars for the first Galaxy. I've never really had any complaints about the gyro controls. I know mileage may vary, you know, some people have less than desirable experiences with gyro controls, but in my own experience, I have no complaints about how this all functions. Am I able to turn out the #1 fan thing? Yes. You weren't always able to, but that is something you can disable, and I am very happy to disable it. It's just obnoxious. It could lead to chat spam, and we don't need it. It was fun to meme about the first time it popped up, but I'm good. I don't need that stupid scoreboard thing. They haven't? Ah, it's unfortunate. I imagine they were probably intending on just preserving the original games as much as is physically possible. But it would have been cool if they could have added that in. Did I sell my Wii U yet? No, because I realized I still have to play Woolly World. It's on the list of games I need to eventually play. So once I beat Woolly World, that might actually accelerate my plans to play Woolly World, just so I can get the Wii U out of here. But yeah, that's still the one hangover, because I bought the game. It came bundled with the Woolly and Yoshi amiibo.
So you're this Mario guy my little Lumas won't start blabbing about, am I right? Sorry to hear about the excitement you had with that monster down in the Mushroom Kingdom. I sure appreciate you bringing us this Power Star, though. We need as many of these as we can get. Name's Lubba, by the way. I'm the head honcho of this Luma crew. See, believe it or not, we're on a spaceship right now. Took some real elbow grease to convert this little planetoid into a ship, but we Lumas pulled it off. May not look like much, but it's home. Truth be told, the ship, she's not in such hot shape right now. We ran into that monster, too. He blasted us with meteors, and some of my crew were thrown overboard. So that monster kidnapped your princess, eh? That's cold. Deep space cold, if you ask me. You know what else is cold? That monster stealing every last one of our Power Stars. See, that's our fuel. Our spaceship runs on energy from Power Stars. Without that, we're stranded here. Ah. Is that young Master Luma? It is, isn't it? Wow. Wait, if you have the trust of young Master Luma, Say, I just might have a little proposition for you. Hear me out now. Your special someone got kidnapped and now you gotta save her, am I right? This always confused me. I don't know why. This never happens again in the entire game. They give you a prompt to choose your dialogue. Just only twice in this first conversation with Lubba and then never again. It's so weird. And it doesn't even change any, like, no matter what you pick, it's the same. And we need fuel for our ship. Now, if you think you can get some of our Power Stars back for us, I'd be willing to make this ship your very own for a bit. That's a fair exchange, am I right, Mario? Yes, sir. Alright, it's a deal. Okay, gang, let's get cracking, yeah? I want everything spaceship shape. Does the game feel any different? No. It feels exactly as smooth and buttery as it did in 2010 on the Wii. Except, I guess, well, I mean, it feels more ergonomic because I'm using the Switch 2 Pro controller. So I don't need to worry about having the Wiimote and nunchuck, one in each hand. And also, just the ability to, because, like, if I adjust my position in my chair, and by doing so, my controller points more to the left or to the right or up or down, I don't have to worry about trying to aim my controller directly at the Wii sensor bar, because I can just push R to recalibrate what my quote-unquote center is. So that makes it a lot more enjoyable. Nice spaceship, yeah? More like a face ship. Haha. Well, at least you'll never lose it in a parking lot, am I right? Haha. So what's next? Don't look at me. This ship has your face on it, not mine. The decision is yours. Feel free to explore Starship Mario, or take the helm if you're ready to ship out. It's your call, Captain. Ooh,
That's nice. The little autosave in the corner. I wonder if that'll be the same way for when we do missions. Instead of having the little box pop up, if it just happens automatically and you don't have to worry about slowing down the pacing at all. Okay, I wanted to check in here because I was curious if this is going to be where the storybook pops up for Galaxy 2. Because it feels like if they were going to put it, because there's a little library, little mini bookshelf over here. So if they were ever going to put, if they were going to put the storybook anywhere, I imagine they put it in there. It might be there. It may just not have shown up yet because it's our first time landing on Starship Mario. We'll see. I am curious how the storybook's going to be implemented in Galaxy 2. Do I remember playing Mario Galaxy 2 before watching Toy Story 3 in theaters? No, because I don't remember exactly when I got Galaxy 2, but I know it wasn't before Toy Story 3 came out. I know I played it not long. Like, I'm pretty sure I played it the same year it came out. Because I know that was a big deal in getting it, was knowing that it was a brand new game. But I don't know exactly when.
So, this is the world map. Just point your cursor at your destination and press A to jump into that galaxy. Like I said, this spaceship runs on energy from power stars. Right now, it looks like we've got enough power to go this far. We're gonna need more power stars. So let's do it for your princess and my crew. Take it away, Captain.
Alright, so you want us to go here? Nah, we're going back to Sky Station Galaxy. Screw zodiac signs, pick between that's right or yes. Yeah, it's just, it always threw me for a loop. I never understood it. Why randomly there they had the dialogue options. Thoughts on Danganronpa 2x2? I think the name is hilarious. I think the fact that it exists is hilarious. But ultimately, I have no real investment in it. It's like my investment in the Danganronpa series has long since evaporated, so I don't really care. I hope it's good for the people because they're adding more content, like they're adding a new story-based chapter thing. I hope it's good for the people who are actually interested in Danganronpa, but I'm not one of those people, so I'll just be chilling from the sidelines. Thoughts on the Simpsons Movie 2 announcement? I haven't even seen the first Simpsons movie, nor have I seen more than a singular full episode of The Simpsons, but again, I hope it's good for the people who are interested. Maybe that'll be my goal, is to get caught up on at least the good episodes of The Simpsons before the second movie comes out, so I can see, I can go see it properly. But that's a long ways away. I got a long time to catch up with Simpsons. You say some people saying Galaxy 1 is a better story. It's not that Galaxy 1 is a better story. I truly believe the reason why people say that is because Galaxy 1 has more cinematic presentation in its story. Like, if you compare the opening prologues of Galaxy 1 to Galaxy 2, Galaxy 1 has full letterbox, although I don't think they're letterbox anymore. I think they're full screen. They think they removed the black bars, which, cool. But they definitely have a more cinematic, dramatic flair to how they're presented, more dynamic cinematography, whereas here it's more like a storybook chapter kind of thing, which does get recontextualized in the bonus stuff after you clear the main game. But that is the style they're going for. They're just different styles of how to present a story, but the actual story itself is just the same thing. It's Princess Peach got kidnapped by Bowser. You encounter a great cosmic being who has the ability to transport you to all these crazy galaxies, and you have to collect power stars to allow you to travel further and further into the galaxy or into the universe to try to track down Peach. That's really all there is to it. The only difference as far as the complexity of the story is the ending of Galaxy 1 has more substance to it, I guess, as far as there's more interesting stuff to talk about than Galaxy 2. But also, Galaxy 1's ending is kind of insane as far as its implications. But, you know, it's just like, I don't know of anyone who actually plays these games for the story. Which is not to say that they can't have good stories. It's just that when you're comparing these two stories back to back, they're so equally. They have such little substance in both directions that it's not. I don't really think it's worth getting hung up over which one has, which is slightly more substantive than the other kind of thing. But yeah, that's what that's what I would say on the subject matter of the story of the Galaxy games. Which is why I'm also curious what they're going to do for the Mario movie. I'm extremely curious what's going to be translated and how, if they're going to, how many elements of the games are going to carry over. I think my time is more valuable than getting prepped for the Simpsons movie. Well, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't be doing it just because of that, because I've been wanting to watch Simpsons for a while. Because like I mentioned on the previous Galaxy streams, every clip I've seen of the Simpsons has made me laugh a lot. So it seems like a show that I would find funny. I just need to actually watch. The show I'm watching right now is the Tangled series, which I can't believe I went this long without watching. So that's the current animated series that I'm making my way through. It's like they knew the plot was kind of the same, so they just went straight to the point and got the game going. Yeah, and there is some value to it having a different presentation. You know, rather than it actually being kind of beat for beat of a retread in how it's shown to you, they have some distinctions. Like I said, this one's more of a storybook, whereas the first one is more cinematic. Wish I could give you more help than just cheering from the sidelines. You know, you can select co-star mode from the plus menu. Then one of my co-star Lumas can help out. I played co-star Luma mode with my parents a lot when I was a kid. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So it is just going to be an automatic little autosave in the bottom left. That's already a really big quality of life thing, because it was, I mean, it was never a huge deal in the original game to have to wait for the little box to disappear. But you know, it does still slow you down. So any amount of time spent not being slowed down, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. How's it going? It's going great. I'm already very pleased. I mean, it's Galaxy 2. There's never any doubt that it was going to be awesome to play. But we already have seen one pretty big quality of life thing in that the autosave doesn't slow you down. You don't have to wait for the game to save. It just saves in the background, and there's a little indicator in the bottom left to let you know that it's happening. And not that it was ever a big time sink, but every little second counts. Every little second counts. So I'm glad that that was changed. They removed the saving box of 3D World. Yes, yes they did. Yoshi hatched from the egg. Thoughts on Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight? Is that the new Lego Batman game they're making that's basically just like an Arkham game except it looks like Lego? My thoughts on it are, it seems to be, it's, rather than trying to make another Lego game, their new mantra seems to just be, let's make regular standard video games, but this time make everything look like Lego, which I'm sure there's an audience for that. But that's kind of one of the things about Skywalker Saga that I was not a fan of, was that they abandoned their original principles of... Lego games had a very distinct style to them, and you could say that made them all feel the same, but they all had their own unique movie-specific mechanics that made them feel distinct. It's just... I don't know, there's a very specific style that Lego games had going for them that was swiftly... I mean, they've been losing it for a while, especially with stuff like Lego Movie 2 video game, which was just awful. But then Skywalker Saga pushed it even further with having full-on cover shooter mechanics. So, I imagine I will not be the target demographic for the new Lego Batman game, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who will really appreciate it. Favorite Toy Story character? It's Woody. Always has been. Always will be. That's why Toy Story 4 pissed me off as much as it did. And also why it took until the ending for me to feel truly betrayed. Like, if Buzz was your favorite character, you would have checked out of Toy Story 4 halfway through with that awful scene when he chases through the carnival, when you first realize just how badly his brain has been damaged. But yeah, you know, I don't want to think about it. Are there mouse controls or nah? So from what I read, I think it's that mouse controls apply only for co-op. Like, Co-Star Luma has the ability to use the mouse controls, whereas for single player, you don't have that ability. Which I guess makes sense the more I think about it, because I imagine it might be kind of cumbersome to have to play ordinarily while also having your mouse as a cursor. But I don't, I mean, I know, I don't really, I've never used the mouse controls in Switch 2 yet anyway. So, I wouldn't even know what that's like. Yoshi just ate a cactus. How is his mouth not hurting? Yoshi's power knows no bounds. He defies all space and time. Biggest problem with the new Lego Batman is the Batman voice. The voice is so atrocious and not Batman. I have not heard the new Lego Batman. I really know virtually nothing about it. Except I just took one look at gameplay and saw signs that this would not be something I'm interested in. So I'm not really keeping up with it. Like, I think even if they made a Skywalker Saga-esque game for a franchise that I'm really passionate about, like Indiana Jones, like if they made the Indiana Jones saga or whatever, I don't think I'd enjoy that any more than Skywalker Saga if it has all the same mechanics in place. There's one level where you just have to walk all the way up. When you're going to find Luke on that island as Rey, you have to walk all the way up to reach him, which I don't know why why not just make that a cutscene? And then you have to chase something around on that island. There's so many just pointless fetch questy walking simulator-esque things that I don't understand why they were put into that game. Do I think Lego games are finished? I assume you mean not are they completed upon release, but is the original format of Lego games that I'm familiar with done being produced? In which case, I don't expect you'll see anything like the original Lego Star Wars or Lego Indiana Jones or Lego Batman ever again. I expect the format for the foreseeable future, because they might, I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if they consider that to be an archaic, outdated game design principle, and that moving forward, we're only gonna see stuff in the same vein as Skywalker Saga, which would be annoying, but it's not like, you know, I always had the original Lego games to come back to, so I'm not too upset by how it's unfolded. Thoughts on losing Amity, dressing up and traveling together. That is one of the funniest moments we've ever recorded as a group. Getting everyone's unanimous reactions to how intensely stupid some of the international dubs are, of the just desperately trying to erase any ounce of gayness from the Owl House. Which, I mean, oh god. It's so funny. It's so funny. What do I think the ending of Toy Story 5 will be? Man, I don't know. I don't have the slightest idea. I'm trying, at this point, I'm trying not to think about it until the trailer comes out, which will probably happen next month. Or if we're lucky, it'll happen at the end of this, because the Lightyear teaser trailer came out at the end of October. And I'll always remember that, because it came out in the middle of me putting the finishing touches on part 4 of my Toy Story 4 series. So I was able to pretty seamlessly add in a little bit about how awful the new Lightyear trailer looked right at the beginning as a kind of cold open. So it was slightly kind of topical. I'm hoping I'm going to get lucky and I won't, because what I'm terrified of happening is assuming I can actually manage to get my Toy Story 1 love letter finished on time for the 30th anniversary of Toy Story, that Pixar's going to release the Toy Story 5 teaser trailer on that exact same day. And I'm going to be like, great, I finished the video, we're all done, we did it, Patrick, we saved the city, and then the second it goes live, Pixar's like, guess what, trailer's here, and I'm going to be like, oh great, so much for taking a break, because now I'm just going to spam people asking, hey, when's the Toy Story 5 reaction, when's the trailer reaction, are you going to talk about the trailer? And I'm like, yeah, all right, well, we'll do it, all good things to those who wait. So I'm kind of terrified of that possibility. Oh no, I didn't spin it. Oh well. Oh well, we won't be going to the bonus planet today. That's fine. That's all right. My Toy Story 5 news video is probably my best non-essay video, honestly, so I'll work with it. I'm glad people seem to be, I wasn't expecting it. Okay, we're fine, we made it. I wasn't expecting it to go over as well as it did. Statistically speaking, it performed the best. It was the highest performing video I've had since the days of my Incredibles 2 series back in 2022, which really caught me off guard. But, you know, it is a video shitting on Toy Story 5, and that's pretty popular thing to do right now, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that it performed as well as it did. But the other thing is, like, you know, I made that video in basically 2 weeks. As far the editing itself took a little less than 2 weeks, start to finish. I recorded it in 1 day, wrote it in 1 day, redrafted it in another. So I guess in total it was probably a 2-week process. It just took longer than that because I caught COVID in the middle of making it and made a lot of it through COVID, or through having COVID. So it's just like I spent 2 weeks on this and it got to 40K views in 1 day. But I spent a year of my life making a massive Toy Story 3 series, and it didn't even... it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Am I gonna see the official Toy Story 5 trailer or avoid it? Under any normal circumstances, I would avoid it, but, you know, people are gonna want to hear what I have to say about it, so I'm gonna have to cover it. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a trailer reaction, or if I'm going to do a more in-depth standard breakdown in the same style as my other Toy Story 5 videos. I haven't decided. It might just depend, honestly, on when they release it, because if they release it at the same time as my Toy Story 1 love letter, I'm just gonna say, like, man, fuck this. I'm just gonna do a quick reaction. I can't be asked to make another in-depth thing immediately after making the last one. That's not happening. Sorry. But I will cover it in some capacity. How do I think Toy Story 4 should have ended? Well, I think it never should have been made, but with the story we got, they should have just gone with the original ending, which is... And also the ending that they were clearly setting up in that scene in the bushes next to the playground where Woody's telling Giggle about Bo's time with Molly, and you can see Bo looking forlorn and reminiscing about her time with Molly and how much of an impact she had on her kid's life. It's very clearly trying to set up an ending where she rediscovers what it means to be with a kid, and then in the end she finds a kid of her own, and there's a really big emotional goodbye between Woody and Bo. That's what they should have done, but they didn't, and now I do wonder how much they're regretting that. If for no other, not even necessarily out of narrative principle, just because they must have fucked themselves over so badly, because in Toy Story 5, they have to reunite Woody and Buzz, and I can just imagine the boardroom meeting where they're like, man, what the fuck do we do now? How can we possibly, we basically wrote Toy Story 4 so that they could never possibly, realistically, logically, sensibly reunite in any way that wouldn't be horrifically and utterly contrived. So what the hell do we do? How do we fix this? And I kind of feel bad for them, but also they did it to themselves, so like, you're on your own, pal. It's not my job to fix it. I can't wait to see. I just want to know. You know, I'm not going to go into. I've said my piece on all this extensively in my various Toy Story 5 videos. So you can go watch on the main channel if you want to know more on my thoughts on all this. I can't be asked to go through it again. I'm tired of thinking about. I'll get back to you when we get to the trailer, okay? Well, when we get the trailer, we'll check back in and we'll see how horrible everything is. That'll be the game plan for Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5 teaser will 100% play in front of Zootopia 2. That is, when doesn't Zootopia 2 come out after the anniversary, though? I mean, someone feel free to fact check me on this. I actually don't know that for sure. I don't know exactly when the movie comes out. But I feel like it's after Toy Story's 30th anniversary, which, if that's the case, would make perfect sense, because then what they'll do is they'll release the teaser trailer on the anniversary so that it's out in the world, ready for them to be able to play it in front of Zootopia 2. Because that was what they did for Ralph Breaks the Internet, was they played the trailer for Toy Story 4 in front of Ralph Breaks the Internet, which I know because I have video of myself and FG in the theater for Ralph Breaks the Internet reacting to the fact that they didn't even, man, oh god, they didn't just play, they made 2 fucking teaser trailers for that movie. They made the first teaser trailer, and then they made a second teaser trailer, which was just Ducky and Bunny being idiots at the carnival, like, reacting to, they called it a teaser trailer reaction, but it wasn't even, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's in the past. I'm sure they're not gonna pull that shit again. It's okay. We're cool. We're chill. I've seen some people claim the reversion's superior purely because prices. Well, I mean, I don't know how you could reasonably say that. It's Galaxy 2. Especially, I think I saw Gagonic mention earlier that they sent Bank Toad to the Shadow Realm, which actually makes me sad because I quite like Bank Toad as a, I mean, not as an element, but as a character. It's like, poor little guy. He's just gone. They just fucking killed him. He's just gone. But if that means that you will no longer have to grind for 999 star bits to get to unlock Grandmaster Galaxy, then I'm all for it. Then that, like, if they have more quality of life updates like that, and like the auto-saving, and the added storybook, and the assist mode, and all this stuff, then it's, you know, whether it's personally worth the price to you is the choice only you can make for yourself. But I don't know how you could say the original version is superior when Galaxy, this is so far anyway just the same game but with more cool stuff added. For some reason, you think they meant to remove the scene where Bonnie played with Woody and just forgot. Yeah, I really don't know how that made it in. I don't know how, like, no one thought that might be kind of awkward. I don't know. I think they just weren't thinking about a lot of Toy Story 4 when they made it. Or if they were thinking, they were thinking incorrectly. Like, one of the things that annoys me to this day is that behind that anatomy of a scene thing they did in the playground when the lady was like, Woody's out of his element here and Bo knows exactly what to do. Like, shut up. You don't understand these characters if you think Woody's out of his element. If you're even vaguely aware of the stuff he's done in the original trilogy, you are completely whatever. 9999 star bits. Yeah. It's honestly the biggest problem Galaxy 2 has is just the crazy amount of grinding that is required to unlock Grandmaster Galaxy. So, I am really hoping that Bank Toad's public execution means that we will know that is just gone from the game. Because the Hungry Lumas themselves have never really been a big deal as long as because you don't really ever have to grind for them as long as you're just engaging with the game's mechanics and picking up star bits as you go without needing to look too hard for them. You'll never really hit a wall with Hungry Lumas, but unless you're preemptively grinding, there's no way that you won't hit that wall when you reach Grandmaster Galaxy. So, yeah, you could say I'm very much optimistic. I mean, we won't find out for quite a while because obviously we have a whole game to get through before we reach that point. But boy, it sure would be nice if that is actually true. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh no. Well, that was not a great way to go out. Flossing Ralph or Star Command, which is cringier. Ooh. That's not great. That took a lot longer to load back in than it did on Wii. That's not stellar. I would not have expected it. I would not have... Hopefully that was just a one-off and not a consistent thing, because that would be really annoying. Especially in certain levels, if it takes that long to reload in each time you die. That would be extremely unfortunate. Flossing Ralph or Star Command, which is cringier. Flossing Ralph easily is the cringier thing. So, I mean, Star Command is funny. Star Command is funnier. But as far as cringe is concerned, that's easily the Flossing Ralph. Not even really a contest. Thoughts on Jack Black wanting Mario Galaxy to be a musical? Thank goodness Jack Black isn't writing the movie. Ralph breaks the internet pretending Burnout is the thing. It is genuinely an irresponsible movie. The way they paint online fame and online content creation is like, genuinely irresponsible. It is at the very least... Well, no matter what, it's irresponsible. But it's... I'm happy to ascribe it to just incompetence and or misinformation. Like, they just didn't do enough... Like, you fundamentally just don't understand this business. You don't understand what being a content creator actually entails and what the dangers of it. There was so much potential to serve as a cautionary tale. Instead, they basically just used it as a plot device, like, honestly. They really exclusively used it as, we need a way for Ralph to make a lot of money really quickly, and also we can double this up as an opportunity to have lots of funny memes, because people like online videos and memes and stuff. And oh my god! That was interesting. And they weren't really concerned with actually understanding what goes into making videos online. And what the dangers of it are, what the pitfalls of it are, what the struggles of it are. Just like, no, it's just that easy to make $30,000 in 8 hours. 8 hours is how long it takes Ralph to make $30,000. To put that in perspective, that's a single... The best faith interpretation of why they did that is that they're just trying to say, wow, look how easy streaming is. Because people who don't work, or people who make videos online, they don't work real jobs. They put in way less effort than people with real jobs, and they make so much money and so absurdly quickly. Which is so horrifically misinformed it actually hurts me. Nate Wants to Battle actually did a really good video on this, talking about like the dichotomy between a real job versus an online content creation job, because the people who often get into that kind of discourse are not interested in understanding the nuances of people who work in both fields. Like obviously someone who's working at a construction site and doing that kind of manual physical labor every single day is exerting a lot more energy and was probably going to be a lot more exhausted at the end of the day than someone who just sits behind a computer and either plays video games or edits videos or writes all day long. But at the same token, when someone finishes construction for a day, or just really any kind of, like, working at a warehouse at Walmart, or any that kind of job, when you clock out for the day, you're done. You don't think about that again for the rest of the day, and you can just relax, unwind, and do whatever else you want. Whereas in a more creative field, and this doesn't even apply strictly to online content creation, it also applies to just any kind of artistic field, be it filmmakers or musicians, really anything in general. I guess I can't speak for everyone, but for most people who really have their heart in this, they don't stop thinking about it as soon as they stop working for the day. Their brain is always... I mean, content brain is often a very derogatory statement that applies to people, as far as, like, they're always looking for opportunities to create content out of their lives. But the other way you look at it is that because their brain is just always working on being creative, they see room for creativity and they see inspiration in the world around them, and they never really stop looking at the world that way, which isn't really the case for a more traditional type of job. And Nate Wants to Battle's video goes into a lot of that, in terms of, like, no one would deny that those types of physical jobs require a lot more effort and physical work than content creation. But if your view of online content creation is it's just that easy to make $30,000 in 8 hours by screaming into a microphone, then I'm afraid you're not interested in really understanding the nuances of this whole, well, it might sound silly to call it a business, but it is a business. This is people's jobs. People make actual legit money from doing this. So, yeah, it's a really complex topic. How am I enjoying the You Are Mr. Gay 2? Loving it. The only complaint I have so far is that the death respawn times seem to be a lot longer than they used to. I'm hoping it was just a one-off, but I'm kind of worried it might not be. We'll see. We'll see what happens next time I die. The comment section is the funniest part of the movie, and it's not meant to be. Yeah, it's just the most milquetoast, like, lame hate comments you could ever... It's not... There's... They even explicitly say in the movie, first rule of the internet is never read the comments, or don't ever read the comments. Which is just really annoying, because one of the most rewarding parts of content creation for at least myself, and I imagine a lot of people as well, is getting to see what people think of the thing that you made. Either to, like, listening to people. One of the most rewarding things I've ever had as a content creator was when I released part 3 of my Toy Story 3 series. and I just got to see a bunch of people sharing their personal stories of seeing Toy Story 3 for the first time and what the franchise has meant to them. Because I get really personal in the final part of that series if you haven't seen it. And so it naturally invites people to share their own personal experiences. And reading those stories and what the franchise has meant to them, and how, in some cases, how my video helped them either like re-experience the movie for the first time through a different perspective, or at least understand things about it that they didn't previously really fully consciously realize. That's awesome. And then on the other side of it, if there's things that could be improved upon, you get that feedback from the comments, and it doesn't serve you in any way to just block your ears and go la 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 la. Like, of course, there's going to be some people in the comments that aren't interested in being constructive and just want to shit on people. But that's just life. That's not, and you shouldn't just dismiss comments entirely because of a few stinkers. That's incredibly stupid. But, you know, it is Rough Breaks the internet, so what did I expect? It's just rampant stupidity in cinematic form. Oh, well. Am I going to play any scary games throughout the month of October? I was originally planning on covering Secret of the Mimic, but I was also expecting that by this point they would have released the VR mode, and they haven't. And it's kind of annoying that they haven't. So what I'm hoping that they pull a surprise and that for Halloween or something, they will release the VR mode. If not, then I don't know. I guess at least give it to me by the end of the year. At least by the time we reach, by the time the calendar turns over to 2026, please give me Secret of the Mimic VR. That's all I want for Christmas, really. The ending of the Toy Story 3 love letter actually had you almost tear up. I read a lot of comments about that, either just in the YouTube comment section or on my Discord server, of people saying how emotional it made them. And I'm not going to say I didn't think it was a possibility, right? Because the ending of Toy Story 3 is really emotional, and I got really emotionally into it and got really personal, so I knew it was possible that people could have that reaction, but I did not expect to see that many people that consistently saying that they were tearing up or outright crying watching the Toy Story 3 love letter final part. What's my favorite candy? It used to be Sweet Tarts. It was really the only candy I ever ate was Sweet Tarts, but then hey, there he is! There he is! It's my boy! Who might have been executed. I think that Toad over there wants to talk to you. I guess there's some info about him. Oh. Okay. So he's the amiibo Toad. I guess it's so funny he's in the game, but the Mario Galaxy amiibos that actually have special effects aren't available, and they won't be until next year, around the time when the movie comes out. That's so funny. It does make me wonder why they didn't wait to release this collection until closer to when the movie was coming out. That does seem kind of strange. But oh well. It is what it is. I'm glad we can play it now. Now he's used for amiibos. Yeah, I guess so. Got a pretty major demotion. We'll check him out. We'll see what he has to say. The only silver lining I can think to this is that they removed Bank Toad specifically because he's not needed anymore. Because there isn't going to be a massive Starbit requirement to unlock the final galaxy. If that is still the case, then at that point I don't even know what to say. I can't think of it. No, Yoshi, nice Yoshi, nice.
I have a feeling something good may happen if you tap an amiibo. Whoa! Open the menu with plus and give it a shot if you have one. Whoa! What do you think will happen? I can't wait to find out. Whoa!
All right. Well, I got my Donkey Kong amiibo here. So, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I think I might have accidentally closed out of the... Cool. I got some Starbits. That was fun. Anyway, let's move on now. Bigger miscast, Pablo the Penguin and Chris Pratt. Pablo the Penguin. Pablo, like, it's... I mean, I guess I don't know how much of this is to be attributed to the writing versus his performance, but I don't think you understand fully how embarrassing and offensive it is for me to watch the Master Chief, who's supposed to be an extremely level-headed, rational character. Not an emotionless character, but a rational, level-headed character, who the most upset he'll ever get, even if he's fuming inside, he'll never let that show. Especially not when talking to fellow brothers in arms. The most upset he'll ever get is just saying, enough. And I think even that delivery that I just did right there is more angry, more intense than Steve Downes' actual performances. To watch a character like that suddenly pin a guy to the wall and scream like a feral monkey, "What am I?" I fucking hate the Halo show. It is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, or at the very least, the most offensive. Holy fuck. I was thinking about my favorite candy. Sweet Tarts used to be the only candy that I really consistently ate. Why am I didn't even trigger the minigame. I used to, because I really have never been a big fan of candy, but I love Sweet Tarts. Every year for Valentine's Day, that was always what I would eat, was just a shit ton of the Sweet Tart heart specifically. They would have special heart-branded, heart-shaped candy for Valentine's Day. And I even had a specific order that I would eat all the colors of all the different colorful Sweet Tarts in. But then they changed the ingredients and they're no longer safe for me to eat, which makes me very sad. And oh, how much more enjoyable that is than the garbage minigame from Galaxy 1. That's so much better. That's so much better and so much more satisfying to clear through. Worse than Dial of Destiny? Yes, without question. Without question, it's worse than Dial of Destiny. What was my reaction to the cancellation of the show? It was, get fucked, you piece of shit TV show. Rip in pieces, you will not be missed. Now all the people working on it, they can go on to better things, better projects, and we won't have to be... Because it's like... It's not even just that it's offensive to Halo fans in the Halo series, but it's just like, think of all the tens of millions of dollars that got poured into this absolutely horrendous TV show that could have instead been put to something good, something that isn't completely terrible, something with actual artistic vision and passion and soul and life and color and intelligent, competent writing and skill behind it. So now they can put their resources elsewhere. The people can get jobs on better shows. The money can go to people who actually know what the fuck they're doing. Everyone wins. Everybody wins. I'm so glad that show is dead and gone, and no one will remember it. No one, like, I honestly forget that the show exists sometimes, unless it comes up in discussions like this. I honestly just forget that the show even existed. You can call it a defense mechanism or PTSD or whatever, but I really am just like, oh yeah, remember that when they made a Halo show where they had the Master Chief have sex with a prisoner of war who happened to be a Covenant spy? That was really fun. I loved that so much. And also, did I mention the part where, while that was happening, Cortana is in Chief's brain, meaning she's feeling, hearing, experiencing everything that he is? But she didn't get asked for consent. She didn't consent to what the fuck they were doing. Oops. Guess we didn't think about that when we made our shitty fucking... It's fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's actually really, really bad and offensive, and I hate it with a fiery passion. But it's just, like, I can't fucking believe. And then they had the balls to... That character died. She was shot, bleeding out in an unsurvivable situation at the end of Season 1. And through absolute bullshit that is never, ever explained, she just miraculously survives to live to see the light of Season 2. I can't believe... Whatever. I'm not letting this... This is supposed to be a happy day, okay? Galaxy 2's here. We're playing it on Switch, having a grand old time. I'm not letting this become the let's shit on the Halo show stream. It's too easy. It's too easy and also too painful. Who's dumber, Future Buzz or Indiana Jones 5 villain? You can't even remember his name. Neither do I. Didn't I call him like Dennis in the video? I feel like I called him Dennis, and I think it's because of how he gets absolutely reamed by the he face plants. He's on top of the train, and then he just gets knocked against the railing or with the railroad crossing arm thing, and then he just survives anyway somehow. I don't know. It's I don't remember his name either, but I think Future Buzz is dumber. His name was Voller. Oh yeah, they stole his name from Staff of Kings. Right. His name was Voller, but also the villain in Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings was Voller. They just stole his fucking name. That's so mean. That's so rude. They stole his name and made him a shittier... Because now everyone, when you say the name Voller, they're going to think of that asshole. Because I imagine more people have probably seen Dial of Destiny than have played Staff of Kings. But also, I don't think anyone remembers Dial of Destiny. Like, truthfully, if you ask someone what happened in Dial of Destiny, I think they'd be like, you went back in time, and there was young Harrison Ford in the beginning, and I don't know, they were on a boat, I think. I really don't believe most people remember Dial of... Like, no one will ever forget Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, nor will anyone forget Crystal Skull, to be frank. Not for the best reasons, but no one's gonna forget it. Guarantee you no one's gonna forget the interdimensional beings and the nuclear fridge explosion. But I don't think anyone's going to remember Dial... I really don't think anyone remembers Dial of Destiny. Not even just that it happened, but like what happened in it. Do I have a special October profile pic like I do for December? No, I do not. I only have a special one for December because I've always been way more a Christmas person than a Halloween person. So I get all fancy for the December holidays, but not so much for the October spooky season. You're glad your family forgot about movie 5 because you can't. Yeah, it must sucks to not be a normie. Like, it kind of, because I guarantee you, like I said, most people do not remember Dial of Destiny. Because, I mean, just most people just don't take movies as seriously as people like us do. They don't, like, they see it, they mainly just see it to be entertained for 2 hours. And they say, did I like it? Did I not? Oh, well, moving on to the next thing. And it doesn't stick in their memory, which is also probably why Toy Story 4 went over as well as it did with a lot of people. Because... You know, if you haven't seen the original movies in a while, you probably won't realize exactly what's wrong with it. But if you have seen, like, if you know the series forwards, backwards, and sideways, and you know what all the characters are, who they are, what they do, what they believe, what their values are, then it sticks like a sore thumb. But if you just treat movies like normal people do, then... It's kind of hard not to immediately see it for what it is. But, yeah, so I guess... That is, I guess... But, you know, I kind of envy the ability to just see something and then immediately erase it from your memory, because you kind of just treat all movies as the same general... It's rare for general movie-going audiences to treat movies like an event or a really big deal that will stick with them forever. I think the closest we've come to that in recent memory was when Wicked came out last year and no one would fucking shut up about Wicked. Or in 2023 when Barbenheimer happened. But beyond that, you really just don't really see people, at least in the mainstream audiences, you don't really see people having the same level of intimate attachment to series and characters that we do. Which is why a lot of things go over better with them than it does for us. Like, you know, everyone just treats movies differently, I guess, because if you aren't that passionate about movies, then you just see it as something to shut your brain off for 2 hours and zone out into a different world, and you get value out of that. It's cool. It's just kind of like, there's so many other, like, you can shut your brain off and enjoy a movie that is good, and then if you want to watch it with your brain on, you can get even more enjoyment out of it. You don't have to watch shit like Dial of Destiny. Although I guess in fairness, no one did watch Shadow Destiny, right? Because it bombed really, really badly. So I guess I can't even say that. Like I don't think not that many people's time was wasted by it, I guess. Also, Endgame. Oh yeah, Endgame is another big. Well, I guess what the other thing I'd say about not just Endgame, but a lot of Marvel movies is if they actually might be the biggest culprit when it comes to movies that people just don't remember. Marvel movies are the clearest instance of just popcorn cinema that goes in one ear, out the other. They enjoy it for 2 hours, and then it immediately gets flushed out of their brain. That really is just the Marvel experience. And maybe it didn't used to be that way when it was back in the Infinity Saga, but especially recently. Like, what happened in Shang-Chi? What actually happened in Shang-Chi? You might be able to tell me because I've kind of cultivated an audience of people that really is passionate about these movies. So you might be able to tell me, but if you ask the average person what happened in Shang-Chi, there's no way they'd be able to tell you. There's no fucking way they'd be able to tell you. No Way Home, they might. Or at least they'd tell you what the big, sweeping, broad character strokes are. But Shang-Chi, Eternals, really, even as recently as stuff like Thunderbolts or especially Captain America, Brave New World, there's no way they remember what happened in those movies. Are you kidding me? There's no way. There's actually no way. How could they ruin Mario Galaxy the movie? By, not embracing the soul of the games, not staying true to the identity of the series and the characters. But I'm not really concerned about that, honestly. Like, of all things the Mario movie, the original, the first Illumination Mario movie was, you can't say it wasn't true to the soul of the series. Clearly, there were a lot of people on that team who were very passionate about the Mario universe and trying to make it as faithful to the games as possible. It's just that came at the expense of telling a good story. So, of all the fears I have for the Mario Galaxy movie, and really I wouldn't even call them fears because I'm not that invested in it, honestly. I'll see it just to check and see if they improved their craft at all since the first movie. But I'm not on pins and needles excited for or dreading the existence of it. I'm just more like, well, you know what? We'll see what happens. We will see. Ah, shit, I wasted my clouds. We will see what happens. It's a lot easier to get that comet medal when you have leftover clouds. But it's fine, we still got it. It's just easier when you can get it straight out of the gate, long jump to it without having to worry about the cosmic clones up your ass the whole time. People love Thunderbolts. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean they remember it. I like the reception. The reception to Shang-Chi was really positive. The reception to a lot of the Marvel movies is still positive, but being having it such that they walk out of the theater saying that was a good time, I enjoyed that, doesn't mean they're gonna remember what happened in a few months' time. Whereas, I mean, because the best movies are ones that stick with you. They're not things that essentially just serve as theme park entertainment where it's fun in the moment, but then it quickly gets flushed out of your brain as you move on to the next thing. The best movies are, and the stuff that I put on like my all-time favorites list is stuff that I either revisit again and again and again, or stuff that I've only seen once and maybe will only see once because of how stressful. Like Requiem for a Dream is my go-to example of, I will probably never watch that movie again, but it's an experience I'll never forget. It's an incredibly intense, incredibly distressing movie-going experience, but by God is it a phenomenal film that will stick with me for the rest of my life. That's the kind of stuff you should be striving for. Not to say that every movie has to be an avant-garde masterpiece, but even stuff that isn't like groundbreaking and new innovations in the world of cinema. If it's a really good story with really good characters, people are gonna remember it. I don't think if you ask people what happened in Thunderbolts, they might be able to tell you. No, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what they tell you about Thunderbolts. You genuinely do not remember anything from Eternals outside of the giant statue in the ocean. Oh my god, it's so funny how that just never got acknowledged in anything until this year when Brave New World came out. And even then, acknowledging it is more just like, it's a resource for us to mine. Not actually diving into the implications of what this would mean for Earth if there's this giant, gargantuan Owl House Titan just plopped into the ocean. But oh well, I don't care enough about Marvel to really get too fed up with, or to get too in the weeds of all that. Nor do you really have to be a fan of Marvel to, or a diehard fan of Marvel, or really be that passionate about Marvel to be able to find the issues with something like Brave New World. Brave New World was quite crap. But so is most of Marvel's output. Oh, and that's not even mentioning the shows. What happened in Miss Marvel? What happened in Secret Invasion? What happened in Moon Knight? What happened in all of these fucking shows? Because, and I think the biggest thing I would say in support of the idea that people just don't remember these movies is Thunderbolts is actively made worse if you actually remember what happened in the previous movies. That's a movie that is like, the Black Widow ends, the post-credit scene of Black Widow is Valentina going to Yelena and being like, would you want to get revenge on the person responsible for your sister's death, and shows him a picture of Hawkeye, and then that leads you into the Hawkeye series. But then it turns out that that was all a lie, and she didn't actually, like, obviously, it was not truthful what Valentina was telling her. But then you go to Thunderbolts, and Yelena's still working with Valentina, which you'd think she wouldn't be. You'd think, with how family-oriented and how much Natasha mattered to her, you'd think she would never want to be associated with Valentina ever again, and might even try to kill her, that being the kind of thing she does pretty frequently, for doing something like lying to her about the nature of her sister's death. But I think the reason why people don't call that out is because they just don't fucking remember Black Widow or the Hawkeye show. It's just not something that sticks in people's memories, and for that reason, it allows people to be able to go, oh yeah, I like Thunder, because if you just take Thunderbolts for what it is, I'm like, I guess you might find enjoyment out of it in some, like, it's definitely, what I say about Thunderbolts is that it's the best thing to come out of the MCU in a while, because it feels the most authentic. It feels like they actually had a story they wanted to tell, and a message they wanted to communicate, and it feels very emotionally grounded in that respect. But if you look at it in the context of everything that came before, it very quickly falls apart. Like, there's a lot of elements of that story that when you... Because in order to really know who any of those characters are, you have to watch Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and all this other stuff in order to even know who, like, half the people on the Thunderbolts are. And it's don't even get me started on Taskmaster. What a fucking embarrassment that was, how they handled that character. Which may not mean anything to you if you're just going into seeing it as another Marvel movie. But if you've seen Black Widow, it's like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you actually do that? Then again, that's the same scene where they're all trapped in an incinerator, where the generator powering the incinerator that they can use to shut it off is inside said incinerator. It's like the fucking capture cone scene from Lightyear, where the power source locking them inside the room is also inside the room, so they can... I love writing. It's my favorite thing. Thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home? It's extremely annoying to me that I said a lot, like, I made a lot of criticisms about No Way Home when it came out, about the integrity of the characters and the integrity of the story and the world building, and no one really listened, because obviously everyone was swept up in the hype of like, no, what are you kidding me? It's a brand new Spider-Man movie, all the characters are together, I love it, it's so awesome, you're just a hater. Now we fast forward 4 years, and it seems like people are a lot more willing to accept that, yeah, No Way Home's kind of not great, is it? Even if they still like it, and they still like what it does for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, they're still more willing to be like, yeah, plot's kind of a mess, Doctor Strange is kind of, like, the whole spell thing is incredibly stupid. So it's just like, yeah, no, it's kind of why I when it comes to those types of big movies, I don't really feel that compelled to publicize my thought. If they're negative, I don't feel compelled to publicize my thoughts on them out of the gate. because usually people aren't as receptive to hearing opposing perspectives in that regard until some time is, because that's what I really fucking hate about online discourse, is when something first comes out, they're like, oh my god, it's amazing, I love it, oh, it's peak 10 out of 10 masterpiece, instant game of the year, best picture, whatever accolade is relevant for the particular medium in question. But then, usually as quickly as the movie is available on digital, and people can post clips on it online, the sentiment immediately turns to, wow, this is really shit. Man, I can't believe anyone ever liked this movie. And I'm like, it hasn't even been a month in some cases. It's been like, it just annoys me. Because usually the true answer is somewhere in between, right? It's neither an avant-garde masterpiece, nor is it the worst thing ever made. But that kind of nuance is something that you don't usually find in online discourse. So it's either, everything has to be hyperbolic in one direction or the other. It's really annoying. And I can't stand it. How do I feel about Uncharted? I want to love Uncharted a lot more than I do. Specifically the story of Uncharted 2 was really great and really compelling. And I was really, really interested in the characters. Like, narratively, what was happening by the end, I was super on board. It's just, I can't stand the combat. I can't stand that it's clearly inspired by Indiana Jones in a lot of respects. Like, its whole personality is essentially just modern-day Indiana Jones. But then you get to the gameplay, and it's mostly just third-person cover shooting. It's not really focused on temple exploration or puzzle solving. There was a couple instances in the game that are like that, but specifically in regards to puzzle solving, they really just don't trust you. It's like God of War Ragnarok, where they just have Nathan spell out the answer to it got to the point where I had to fucking mute the in-game dialogue and turn off subtitles because of how fucking annoyed I was at the characters just spelling out what you had to do. And even, it's worse because on top of that, the puzzles themselves are already extremely simplistic and not even really something that needs to be solved, quote unquote. So that just further compounds the issue. But I want to like Uncharted a lot more. If it was just a movie, which I know sounds kind of because the Uncharted movie itself did come out and was apparently not very well received by fans. But if there was an Uncharted movie that was good, I would probably love it, because I would love to be able to experience one of those types of stories that is clearly in the same style as Indiana Jones, just not while having to deal with the gameplay. That would probably be my ideal way of going about that franchise. Most annoying narrator in a video game? Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know what I would say to that. I guess there was that one game where it has a really cool gameplay concept of taking pieces of the environment and using it to create doorways to other pieces of the environment. But then there's this obnoxious voice in your ear the whole time. It's like, whoa, did that really just happen? I only know about it because of that one Twitter clip where the person was playing and the voice said that, and he immediately paused the game, opened the options, and shut off the voice dialogue. Because the game looks really cool. It's just, you know, you have to deal with the terrible narrator in the meantime. But I haven't played that game, so I guess I can't really speak to that beyond just anecdotally what I've seen from other people. But yeah, that would probably be in the running. Puzzle Plank. Oh yeah, someone asked me when I was streaming Galaxy 1 what would be my favorite track from Galaxy 2. And for some reason, I didn't immediately say Puzzle Plank Galaxy. Because Puzzle Plank Galaxy's music is kind of perfect, and I love it. I don't know why this wasn't the first answer that I said. Playing that one, you turn that shit off, it is not needed at all. Oh, you are playing that game. Okay, is it as good as it seems to be? Because it seems like it'd be a really cool game if you removed the terrible narrator. Is this a superior Mario Galaxy game that you're seeing? It sure is. What I've realized about the Galaxy duology is it's kind of like my experience with the Ori games, where the first one is great. Solid game, love it a lot, it's really fun to play. And I respect it a lot for the trails that it blazed for the series, but it has some pretty clear oversights and flaws that the second game absolutely trounces completely. So, and the second game was the one that I really, really love and that I get legitimately emotionally excited about revisiting. It's kind of the same thing. Both Galaxy 1 or the Galaxy games and the Ori duology is kind of my same experience with both of them. Favorite Ice Age character? My favorite Ice Age character is Diego. But I'd say Manny has the cleanest arc across all... Even Collision Course. I mean, they don't handle it very well, but what they're trying to do with Manny's character, that is the correct direction you should take Manny's character, following Continental Drift and Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Like, they never really faltered with the direction Manny's character should go in. He's been the most consistently well-written thing. It's just... Collision Course might have honestly been salvageable were it not for... Well, I mean, well, if Manny's arc was... I don't want to say salvageable. If Manny's arc was cleaner, if it wasn't bogged down by the part where he just has a maniacal laughing fit about, she'll stay our little girl forever! If that wasn't in there, because that is one of the worst things I've seen. That specific moment is just cartoonishly awful. I hate it. But as far as the character I like the best, probably Diego. Diego's pretty cool. I like Diego a lot. A few changes to the... Oh, we got the super duper world map now. And here's the mail toad. Here's the mail. It never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail. Mail! Hey, Mario, I decided to start delivering mail. Whoa, and my first letter is for you.
I am very far away right now, but I'm okay. I know you will come save me. I've attached something to this letter. I hope it will be useful.
Princess Peach included a what-up mushroom in her letter. Aw, even when she's kidnapped, the princess is so thoughtful. Well, come see me next time there's a mail delivery. Whoa.
Did I know originally Manny was going to be called Manfred? Well, that is his name. I guess you mean he was going to be referred to by the other characters as his full name. But yeah, definitely the better choice to just go with Manny as the nickname. Galaxy 1 is great, great base, but Galaxy 2 and Astrobot are much better. Yeah, it's a solid base upon which Galaxy 2 and could build upon, and then I guess, yeah, Astrobot is the unofficial spiritual successor to the Galaxy games. And rightful winner of Game of the Year 2024. This game is so nostalgic to you. You remember spending a whole afternoon playing the game while sick at home. It is... I will say nostalgia definitely does play a factor in it, because this is one of the first long-form experiences I've had with a video game, in that one of the first games that I said, you know what? I'm going to sit down and actually play this from beginning to end. Obviously, not in one sitting, but I mean, I was going to see it through to the end. I was going to actually go for 100%, all the stars, all the everything. And that's when I realized, oh, there's a lot more to this game than I thought when I got to the green stars, for one. And then, of course, beating Grandmaster Galaxy was one of my first major triumphs in video games that I'll remember. Which, even though nowadays Grandmaster Galaxy isn't really that hard. I mean, it's still tough, obviously. It's still a challenge. But I can usually beat it in a couple attempts. It doesn't sap days of my life like it did when I was a kid. I will be interested in, of course, now that I've said that, I'll probably struggle a lot when we eventually get to Grandmaster Galaxy. But I'm not expecting it to take a tremendous amount of time. The game is Viewfinder. The narrator isn't as bad as people make it out to be. It's really just one bad clip. I will say that I do feel bad for that, because I'm sure, like, I have no doubt in my mind that the game is really great, because it looks really creative and really awesome, and I really do want to play it. Also, let's see if I can we skip the need for, I can indeed. I love when I can do that. The game does look really awesome, and I want to play it someday, and I have a feeling that one Twitter clip, which is really funny, I think it's probably done a lot of harm to the game's reputation as far as making people not want to play it, which is a shame. As for whether the narrator is actually that bad, that I can't speak to. I haven't played it myself, but I want to. It's on the list. of things I will eventually get around to doing. But why play Viewfinder when you can play Mario Galaxy 2 for the 10 billionth time? I actually don't know how many times I've played this game. Start to finish, I've probably only done it like 5 or 6 times, beginning to end. I don't know the exact statistics on that, but it's probably, just in terms of save files and how many times I would have had to rewrite them, it's probably something, maybe 7, but I don't know. Would the flower from Wonder count as a narrator? I guess so, but I never, because I played the game without any audio, so I don't know what the narrator is like. I honestly don't. Because this is, when I played on Switch 1, I didn't have a headset, nor did I have a means to be able to split because the only console that you can actually, that is competently designed enough to where you can actually split the audio between your headset and the TV so that your capture card can pick it up and also it comes through your headset is the Xbox. The Xbox has always been really great about that stuff. PlayStation has always been crap about it. At least the consoles I've played, those being 4, well, 3. PlayStation 3 was just terrible for capture cards across the board. It was, I tried recording on PS3, and I did it once and then never again because it was just awful. The amount of extra hoops you had to jump through to get the Elgato software to recognize that you were playing on PS3. Then they realized their mistakes with PS4, and PS4 was much like all the other consoles as far as being easily accessible to modern capture cards. But the downside is that they did not extend that same accessibility to the audio functionality. So if I wanted to record the gameplay, I would have had to, and have the audio come through on my capture card, I would have had to do it through my TV speakers. Because if I use a headset, it doesn't split through the capture card and my headset. The problem with that is if I use my TV speakers, then you would hear an echo. Because obviously, it's coming through my microphone. Like, it would echo into my microphone, and also you would hear it through the game itself. So, what I would always have to do is I would always have to just not use the headset, make the audio come out through the TV, and then just mute my TV so that there's no echo. And that was the case for PS4, PS5, and Switch. But now I finally have an Elgato chat link cable, which the fact that I even had to spend money on this is incredibly stupid. But at least I have it now, so I can, like, I'm playing with a headset right now, so I can hear the amazing music while I talk to you guys and play. But that wasn't always the case, so I played Mario Wonder without a chat link cable and without being able to hear the Wonder Flower, so I can't speak to how annoying he may or may not be. But I know the option to turn it off is there if you do find him particularly obnoxious, which I know a lot of people do. Have I played Hollow Knight? I started playing Hollow Knight last summer, and I did like it. I just didn't like it enough to where I was like, oh, I gotta play more of this right now. But I will get around to finishing it one of these days. So that is also on the list of games. There's just too many things I want to experience. Too many games I want to play. Too many movies I want to watch. Shows I want to watch. Books I want to read. There's just not enough time. I miss being in middle school when I had all the time in the world to just watch things and play things. Like, I miss being able to come home after school, sit down in my chair, and have enough time to read a full book from start to finish uninterrupted. That is not a luxury I have anymore. Really, the only time I make to play games in super extensive sessions like this is when I stream. When I stream games like this, I always make, because at that point I'm not just playing a game, I'm also interacting with my community, I'm talking with people in chat, and I'm kind of making content out of it. Which I guess might be a dystopian way of looking at it, like, oh, you only allow yourself to do things if you can make videos off of it. Which, I don't know. If I enjoy doing it, I don't think it makes it too dystopian if I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. It's not just like having to turn my whole life into a YouTube thing. Because there is a lot, like, I would never want to make a vlog channel, for instance. I would never want to go about my daily life thinking, should I be vlogging this? Should I be recording this for content? Like, I draw the line pretty definitively when it comes to movies, games, that's all fair game, but the second I step into the real world and I'm... Like, I wouldn't want to go out with my friends and be like, hey, guys, you mind if I film a quick clip for the vlog? That would, no thanks. No thanks. I'm good. Favorite Digital Circus character? This is a complicated question for me to answer because they all have, hold on, let me just, I said something on my Discord server that pretty succinctly summarizes my feelings on the Digital Circus cast. It's a tough question because they're all so unique and interesting. I like Pomni the most. Kane and Zubul make me laugh the most. Jax and King are the ones who I'm most emotionally compelled by. But all around, it's just an all-star cast. So I have a hard time deciding on like a favorite character from Digital Circus because they all... There's no character who, when they cut to their storyline, I'm like, oh, not these guys again. Nor is there a character where I'm thinking, oh, great, these are my favorites. Because they all, each character offers something unique. And they also mix and match the cast a lot. So they get different dynamics out of each episode. Digital Circus is just a really, really fantastic indie animated show that you should all go check out if you haven't already. It's legit amazing. And I mean, not that it needs my help to promote it, right? Because it's doing very well for itself. But it doesn't hurt to promote it, you know? It doesn't hurt to get more people talking about it and watching it who may otherwise not have. Favorite Pokemon? I mean, my answer to this question is always very loose because I don't really have a favorite Pokemon. Because I'm not a Pokemon fan, so I don't feel passionately enough about the Pokemon series to have a favorite Pokemon. If I were to have one, it would be... Is his name Sobble? The water starter Pokemon in Pokemon Sword would be my answer for favorite Pokemon. If for no other reason than just he was my first. That's literally it. I, again, do not feel too passionately about Pokemon to... Because I feel... My thing with Pokemon is that it feels like once you've played one of the games, you've kind of played them all. Like, I know each one technically has its own story, but it feels like a lot of them fall into the same general archetypes. I also really can't stand how the game just never fucking ends. There's like, you have the final boss, and then the post-game boss, and then Champions Road, and all this other shit that the... You have... No, you have the final boss, then you have the final gym battle, then you have Champions Road, and then you have all this other post-game stuff, and it's like... How many endings can your game possibly have? Like, really? But I enjoyed my time with Pokemon Sword. I enjoyed playing Pokemon Sword a lot. I'm just not compelled to play any of the other Pokemon games. I mean, I will probably eventually play Pokemon Moon because FG bought me that for Christmas one year. But I don't expect that I don't expect that I'll feel that it was any meaningfully different than other Pokemon games. You find the Wonder Flower pretty funny? Yeah, it's a very mixed bag. The people, you really either kind of love the Wonder Flower, or you really hate the Wonder Flower, unless you're me and you haven't listened to him, and then you have no opinion on him one way or the other. But it is a very divisive topic of like, you gotta play with the Wonder Flower, or else you didn't really play the game, or I can't imagine playing the game with that obnoxious little shit, the Wonder Flower. I don't know. Favorite and least favorite Marvel film? Favorite, I would need to rewatch the Infinity Saga to really get a proper grasp on what my favorite would be. It used to be Spider-Man Homecoming was always my favorite. I don't know if it still would be, but that was always my answer. Like, back when I was actually invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Least favorite is Quantumania. Quantumania is an affront to art. It's an embarrassing movie in every respect. I can't stand... Like, there's a lot of good contenders. Thor Love and Thunder would be up there, for instance. But my pick is always going to be... Well, probably at least always going to be Quantumania. Can't stand Quantumania. What's a criticism against a piece of media that I've seen that makes me wonder if they never read, watched, or saw it? Oh, just cue the SpongeBob gif of him rolling down the list of unlimited... I guess my answer would probably be something from the Owl House. Because there's a lot of bad faith criticisms that get directed at both Dana herself and the shows that she makes, and that's been made abundantly clear in recent days. But whether it's like stuff about Luz and Amity's relationship or stuff about Hunter being a toxic character who didn't deserve any of the redemptions he got, or Bellows being right, and just a lot of... If you really dive into the... Like, honestly, making the Owl House video was obviously stressful for a lot of reasons, mostly having to do with copyright and having to remake the whole project from scratch. That was all not great, but one of the most insanely obnoxious parts of it was diving deep into online forums and like Tumblr and places like that and just discovering what really, really, I'll say, woefully misguided people think about the show and its characters. I'm like, you didn't pay attention to any of this, did you? But there's a lot of really good examples to choose from. Well, I guess good is a strange word to use there, but there's a lot of worthwhile examples that would match that description that I've been exposed to in recent years. It's hard to pick just one, but I'd probably just go with anything involving Hunter's character, because, like, honestly, this is honestly kind of a blessing in disguise, because when I first wrote the script for the Owl House video, Hunter was the one character who I was really struggling to write a proper analysis for. I had the basics, but I felt like there was more that I could have been saying but wasn't. It wasn't until I watched that horrible video on calling Hunter a bad character that made me realize, oh, like, first off, I'm pretty sure it took at least 10 years off my life watching that video. Not just once, not just twice, but like 3 or 4 times. And the reason I kept watching it so many times is because I couldn't believe it was real. Like, I kept, each time I watched it the first time, and I hated it, and then some time passed and I was like, okay, maybe I was being a little harsh. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I should rewatch it to see for myself. And then I hated it even more the second time because you usually pick up on more things the more you watch them, and that was definitely the case with that video. And then the third time was when I was actually translating my notes into a script, like adding it into my Owl House script. And that was when I was like, there's no way he said that. I must have just remembered it wrong or wrote it down wrong. So then I had to watch the video again, and once again it got worse. And then when I was recording the script, I'm like, did people actually fucking say this? So then I went to go back again, and every time it got worse. But were it not for that video, I don't think I would have as much reverence for Hunter's character as I do, because I wouldn't have really... Sometimes it takes someone really misunderstanding a character and making really bad criticisms of them to illuminate and highlight what it is about the character that really, really works. So I guess that would probably be my answer to that question. Have I seen more of Murder Drones? No. The main animated show I've been watching recently is the Tangled series, which I kind of can't believe I've gone this long without watching. But yeah, the Tangled series is what I've been watching this week. And I'm glad I have, because I was kind of... When I watched the Tangled Before Ever After, which is basically just a pilot episode of... An extended pilot episode of the show, I wasn't really that jazzed about it. It was cool to see the characters again, and the songs were great. But I'm just... I was left with a feeling of, this was over. The story was done. Did we really need a sequel series fleshing out all this stuff? Because it seemed really interested in fleshing out more of the lore behind Rapunzel's hair and the magical flower and all that stuff. I was just thinking, but do we really need it though? Like, do we need this? Because I feel like it worked perfectly fine when it was really simple and straightforward, and we didn't really need to go more elaborate or complex with all that. And beyond the lore it was trying to set up regarding Rapunzel's hair, there wasn't really much to it. There was a couple sweet character moments, but beyond that, like, the villains were fucking nothing. And there was also some things that I imagine would probably upset some people, like the scene at the end with Rapunzel and her dad. So yeah, I wasn't super jazzed about the idea of seeing more of it, but then I started watching the actual show, and the show itself so far has been great. I've loved every episode of the show that I've seen. The really, really cool things with the characters, it's really, really funny, the animation is really vibrant and really uniquely stylized. I really have no complaints about the show, but I am afraid of what might happen because I am sure they will eventually go back to the well of trying to expand on the lore, and I'm really afraid of what happens when they do that. But for now, well, it's mainly just episode of the Monster of the Week style storytelling, where we're kind of exploring the characters a lot more, getting to know them more personally, exploring a lot of unique scenarios in the kingdom, and just kind of fleshing out the world. It's some pretty great stuff so far. How long do I think the stream will be? The stream is going to be maximum 3 hours, probably, because I have a very strict time limit today where I'm only going to do the first 2 worlds, and then I got to bounce because I got last minute preparations to make before I leave on my trip tomorrow. So probably another hour, at maximum another hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes. I don't foresee me going any longer than 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh no. Yoshi, come back. Yoshi, come back. Don't leave me. Thank you. Most outrageous thing I heard in that video, calling Hunter a war criminal. And also saying that Willow's treatment in Season 2 was sexist. That's another big one that I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You think the most insane of these criticisms was, oh, the narrative approves of... No, get away from me. Hold on, let me grab the star and then I'll read your message. Gotta not die by frog first. There we are. The narrative of Whiplash approves of Fletcher's actions. Well, okay. So I understand why people would think that, because the ending of Whiplash is... If you don't think about it that deeply, it can seem to an average audience member like it's a triumphant ending, where Andrew gets his triumphant moment on the stage and there's a moment of understanding between the two characters. I understand why someone would think that, but that's not at all what the ending of that film is trying to say. So, I'm more receptive to that point because I at least understand how people got there and why they think that. I cannot say the same for the half the shit I heard in that Hunter video, or really just most online Owl House discourse, to be frank. Most insane thing you heard in the video was that the guy implying he believes stuff made for all ages can't have substance. There is a really annoying mindset that if you make something for everyone, you make it for no one, or if it's made for a general audience and it can't be made with any deeper substance, and I just find that kind of insulting. I understand the notion behind the idea that if you aren't making it trying to target a specific demographic of people, then you probably aren't making it with a specific story in mind. You're just trying to get as many people to like it as possible, and you're not telling a very personal story. But I think that's horseshit, because my go-to example is always just Pixar. Toy Story 3 is obviously a movie that's trying to appeal to as many people as possible, right? And it did appeal to a lot of people, because it made an insane amount of money. In fact, if you account for inflation, it made more money than Toy Story 4 did. But that doesn't mean it was vapid or empty or just trying to be brand safe. Like, I would accuse some of Disney's movies of being like that, especially recently, but I would never accuse most of them, nor would I would never accuse all animated media or media made for all audiences of being that, especially not early Pixar stuff. Because it is entirely possible for you to make a story that can appeal to everyone that also stems from a very personal place in your lives, or in your life. And I don't appreciate this false dichotomy that's been created. Although, if you wanna... That reminds me of something else I heard. While I've been doing research for Toy Story, my Toy Story love letter, which basically just means watching a bunch of people's reviews to find any potential counter-arguments or criticisms that I should account for, I've heard some real interesting things. Chief among them being the movie was made in 1995, which is before they figured out how to make animated movies good, or how they figured out how to make soundtracks in animated movies good. Which I guess it's not the first time I've heard something like that, because there are a lot of people in my generation who basically believe that any media which predates them is automatically bad and outdated and icky and terrible and we don't like it. Which is just very... I don't want to say anti-art, but it's just a very close-minded way of looking at art, where it's like, if this thing is older, if this thing has existed on the planet for more time than I have, then it can't possibly be made with any degree of standard quality. Like, there's people who would look at the original Toy Story and say that it's worse than Toy Story 4 purely on the basis of it just looking worse, of it having less realistic animation. And I think that's just a shame. To put it, that's the kindest way I can put it, is that it's a shame that people have such reductive views on art. It's also, I guess another example would be video games especially. Like, if you look at the original Halo Combat Evolved compared to more recent Halo games, like, oh, this game was so old, it's so basic textures and basic animations and blah, 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 and I don't know, art is more to me than visuals. And it's a shame that a lot of people don't seem to share that mindset. Without that video, the Hunter section of my video would be shorter. Oh, absolutely. That's what I was saying earlier. I didn't have that much interesting stuff to say about Hunter, and I felt bad about it because it's like, I know that there's more here. I just can't figure out how to verbalize it. But then watching that video made me realize what it, like, gave me the ability to properly articulate why Hunter's character is so great. So yes, without that, my video would most certainly have been shorter. It would also have been worse because it wouldn't have... Like, with Gus and Willow, I feel like I did the best I could to give those characters the most respectful treatment I could. The thing with Gus and Willow is that they just don't get much to do, right? Because they are the two characters who were most clearly shafted as a result of the shortening. So, I don't have much to say about them, but I feel like it's proportional to how much screen time they get in the show. Whereas with Hunter, I feel like, given how much time he had, I should have been able to say a lot more. And then I did, after I watched that video. Gotta go. Thanks for tuning in, MCU. Hopefully you have a good day. Hopefully you have a good week. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. After watching my last video, you're glad you're not the only one who hates how Marlon and Demo were written in Finding Dory. It makes the movie completely unenjoyable for you. Yeah, I got a good chunk of comments of people saying, like, damn, I didn't realize he hates Finding Dory. And it's like, I don't hate Finding Dory. I'm just extremely critical of Finding Dory, and I wish it was a lot better than... Because there is enough in Finding Dory to make it a worthwhile addition to the series. It ends in a really great... Like, the final shot of bringing it full circle to where the series began to drop off, and get them being able to properly admire the view like they were at the beginning of Finding Nemo, just without having to worry about any present dangers, and Marlon saying it is quite a view, but then Dory of all characters says, "Yup, unforgettable." That's a great line. That's a great way to end the movie. Most of the stuff, obviously the seashell scene where Dory finds her parents is fantastic. There's enough in Finding Dory to make it worthwhile, so where I can't hate it, but it's also a lot of Finding Dory is dedicated to really aimless meandering and Dory bumping into her next objective through convenience, and Marlon and Nemo doing their stupid Becky shenanigans that drives me insane. And I just really hope that Toy Story 5 doesn't go down the same route with how Marlon and Nemo were written, because that would make me very sad. I say this, but didn't I say Mario 64 is an awful game? Yeah, but I didn't say it was an awful game because it looks bad. I said it because of the mechanics involved. Like, it being old is not anything to do with the problems I have with that game. Like, Comet Evolved, go back to Comet Evolved, for instance. That's a game that is going to be 25 years old next year, but it plays a lot more smoothly than a lot of modern-day games that are released, which is not something I can say about Mario 64. It feels clunky. It feels extremely clunky. And it is not... I do not enjoy playing that. I mean, we'll see what happens when I replay it eventually, but I'm not expecting that I would... I'm not expecting me to have a much more positive time with it than I did previously. Am I going to sell my Wii U now? Well, I've said forever that the only thing keeping me from selling my Wii U was the inability to play Mario Galaxy 2 on Switch. But then I realized I still haven't played Woolly World. Like, Woolly World is on my Wii U. And I would like to play that game before I get rid of my Wii U. At least if Toy Story 5 did that, it'd still be better than Toy Story 4. I think I don't know, I think it's too early to make that call. It would entirely depend on execution. I have more reason to believe that Toy Story 5 is going to be worse than Toy Story 4 than I did before, but ultimately at the end of the day, it is still, there's a lot up in the air that we still don't know, and the trailer will be telling, but even then I don't think we'll know fully until, because I've said before, I was fine with the Toy Story 3 trailer as a kid when I just wanted to see more Toy Story stuff, but as an adult, if I saw the Toy Story 3, the original Toy Story 3 trailer, not the teaser where they were all jumping around on pogo sticks and stuff and rebuilding the logo, but I saw that first trailer, the first proper trailer, I don't think I would have been that excited for Toy Story 3. I don't think it would have looked that interesting. It probably would have looked very milquetoast, very by the books, very, it's just another adventure. But then, of course, the movie comes out and it's phenomenal, and it does so much to shake up the status quo and really leave an undeniable, irreplaceable impact on the franchise. So even if the trailers look not great, they could still surprise us. I have concerns. I have lots and lots of concerns, and it's hard to remain optimistic, but I really am trying my damnedest to, because I would really rather not have to make another video ripping it to shreds. That'd be nice if I could celebrate the positive aspects of this franchise and have it go out on a better note than Toy Story 4. That'd be really cool. Have you seen the trailer for Hazbin Season 2? No, I have not. We're so close to release now that I'm like, I might as well just wait. I don't really need to see I'm already gonna watch it. I don't need a trailer to convince me. So I'd rather, I want to go in as blind as possible. I'm not, oh, that was lucky. I do not feel a desire to watch the Season 2 trailer. I thought I was going to, because I was at the Hazbin Hotel sing-along last night, and I thought that they might have played the Season 2 trailer after the credits rolled on all the episodes. They did not, which I'm glad they didn't for my sake, but I feel like you probably should have played it for everyone else, because the theater I was in last night was very clearly full of a lot of really passionate Hazbin fans. They didn't just know all the words to the songs, but they knew the script. They have the scripts to all the episodes memorized the same way I do for the Toy Story movies. They were clapping along to certain bits, like in episode 2, where they're doing the game where it's like, "My name is Charlie. I like to sing." They were clapping along to that. They were clapping in beat to the "Hell is forever, whether you like it or not" part of the "Hell is Forever" song. So it was really cool. It's always fun to be in an audience of people who have the same passion for something that you do, and it's just a nice moment, a fan event. So, but for their sake, I was kind of hoping that they'd play the trailer afterwards, but they did not, because the time would have worked out perfectly, because the trailer came out and it would have come out just in time for them to be able to show it at the sing-along. Although really what they probably should have done is just waited to premiere the trailer until the sing-along and have it be like, hey, you get to watch the episodes and sing along, but also you get to watch the trailer for the first time. You know, not that they needed any help selling tickets, but I think it would have been a nice thing to do. All right, let's see how Fluzzard controls. Gently point it down. To Mario, to Galaxy. I see you playing Mario Kart World up there. You're not sneaky. But still have my Switch 1. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with my Switch 1. I might see if there's any family members who want it, but I feel like any family members who would want the Switch would just want to wait for the Switch 2. I might try to give it to a family member or friend. I might try to sell it for credit, at a GameStop credit or something. I don't know what I'm going to do on the Switch 1 just yet. Or I could wait to sell it, see if its value goes up at any point. Because I still, like, for instance, I still have my original Skylanders, like my whole original Skylanders set. Oh, nuts. Okay, now let's see how long the respawn time is. Okay, so it was probably just a one-off then, because that was a lot faster than the first time. The first time it took a long time to respawn. This time was a lot quicker. Like, I still have all my original Skylanders, and if I tried to sell it when I first got them all, it probably wouldn't have been worth that much. But if I wait, I've been kind of waiting to see if maybe one day they're worth a lot more, because I don't really have a reason to keep all my Skylanders around. There is some sentimental value there, but not enough to that. I don't think there's enough to that would stop me from selling it, because I don't really play Skylanders. I haven't played it, I don't think, in like almost 8 years. I think my LP was 2018, so yeah, 7 years will be 8 years next year. But we'll see. I truly don't know what I'm gonna do with my Switch 1 yet, but I do still have it. It's sitting over there to my right. We shall see what happens with that. Oh, damn it. What was the music in the beginning of my love letter to Toy Story 3 when I was in the attic? You can find a full playlist of all my, all the soundtracks I used for my Toy Story 3 series. It's linked in the description of the video. But if you want the answer to that specific question, it was the Inkwater Marsh Suite from Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Specifically from the piano arrangement soundtrack, special soundtrack that Gareth Coker put out pretty recently. I think that was last year that he did that. It was a pretty recent release that Gareth Coker put out, the piano arrangement of all the different Ori tracks. It's funny. I made a commitment pretty early on that I didn't want to use any Ori music because an overwhelming majority of the music I used in my Owl House video was Ori music, just because the first creative decision I made on that video was that Ori Embracing the Light was going to be the final track I played. And then once I decided, because not only did it thematically work perfectly with, you know, Embracing the Light has always been about what the show is doing, but then it also just sounds like a perfect closing track for the emotions I was going for. And then once I decided that, I was like, well, I should probably try to see if the tracks, because there's 3 pieces of music that lead up to the ending of Will of the Wisps. So I wanted to see if those would fit, and then they did fit. And then once I had 3 Ori tracks, then I was like, okay, well, let me try to, if I'm going to end with the final track of Ori 2, maybe I should begin with the opening track of Ori 1 and see if that fits. And then it did. And then it didn't take me long for me to kind of develop the musical language of that video as the Ori sound, if you will, because it really fits perfectly. It really fits perfectly with the tone of the video and the vibe of the world. But because I use so much Ori music, I didn't want to have to rely on it again for the Toy Story 3 video, and I didn't. It's the little to no Ori tracks are in that video. However, the very first thing you hear is in fact a track from Ori, so it's kind of funny to think about. Honestly, you're very surprised I'm a Has-Been fan. So many people are. That is the thing I hear most often, is people being just absolutely astonished that I evolved, that I don't know why, but people are very consistently astonished that I am a fan of Has-Been Hotel. I'm not really a fan of Hell of the Boss. Hell of the Boss does not appeal to me at all. But Has-Been Hotel, that's up my alley. You think criticizing Toy Story 1 for poor animation carries the same level of judgment as criticizing 64 for clunky controls and camera? Well, no, because there are games, like, that's specifically why I mentioned Common Evolve, because there are old games that do actually hold up under scrutiny from a mechanical perspective, and from what I played of Mario 64, that is not one of them. Whereas technology evolving is a bit of a different story. Like, no matter what you do, you can try your best to make something look good in the moment, but it's always going to age, because technology just is inevitably going to evolve, and the ability to create high quality visuals is always going to get better as the years go on. But also, the main thing I was talking about is just that the main point of what I was saying is that people have an inherent objection to the notion of something being old. Because that was the specific point I was making, is that someone said that 1995 was before they figured out how to make animated movies good and how to make music work for animated movies. The obvious implication of that being that it's just too old to be good, which is asinine. And that's not something I've ever believed, nor will I ever say that just because it's old, it inherently has to be bad. That's idiotic. Do I think Toy Story could have ended with just 1 or 2? Well, I mean, it could have ended with 1. You didn't need the opening of the ending of Toy Story 1 doesn't inherently lend itself to a sequel. But I would never want to sacrifice, like, I would never want to sacrifice 2 or 3. You could end Toy Story with just the first one, or you could end Toy Story with the second one, and no one would really complain. It would feel like a very conclusive, cohesive story. But I wouldn't want to. I would certainly, in the same way that you could end things with Inside Out 1, but I would never want to sacrifice Inside Out 2 because of how much good it did for the series and how amazing that sequel was. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of it's an interesting thing, because my automatic instinct when it comes to a lot of sequels is just, dear God, no, leave it alone. And I guess the most recent instance of this would be Coco 2. I really do not want there to be a Coco 2 because it is just so airtight and complete, and I can't. But I guess the difference is that I could imagine, like, in a world where Toy Story 1 was the only movie that ever existed, I can imagine what they could do, like how they could make that interesting with a sequel. Same thing with Inside Out. Inside Out 1 actually lends itself most cleanly to a sequel because it literally ends with them being like, after all, Riley's 12 now. What could happen? Kind of indirectly insinuating that there's more story to tell. But Coco is just, it's done. The story's done. It's over. I legitimately don't know what direction you could possibly take the story in that wouldn't feel incredibly contrived or just flat out stupid, to be blunt. But that's kind of why I made sure to add a caveat, like, you know, Inside Out 2 was concerning to me, and then it ended up being amazing, so it's theoretically possible that Coco 2 could blow me away. My hopes are not high. That's all. Just, I don't know. I only need a 15. Was the Knights of Guinevere teaser in any way responsible for me checking out Glitch production shows? Yes, it was entirely responsible. I never would have watched it. Well, I probably never would have watched, or at least I wouldn't have done it for a long time, watched Digital Circus and Murder Drones, were it not for Knights of Guinevere. Because as soon as I found out that Dana Terrace was working with Glitch, I was like, alright, well, now I kind of have to see all the other stuff that Glitch has done and get a feel for their style. But the cool thing about Glitch is that they don't really have a style. They aren't trying to make their artists fit into a predetermined box. They aren't trying to just make them all homogenized paint by numbers. This is the Glitch style of storytelling. Digital Circus, Murder Drones, and Knights of Guinevere are all completely different from each other. Artistically and narratively, there is basically no overlap at all. The only overlap is that they are born out of Glitch just saying, hey, these artists are really talented and they know what they're doing, so why would we bother trying to tell them how to do their job? Let's just let them do what they do best, and that is what they did. And that's why Digital Circus is as good as it is, and that's why Knights of Guinevere is. I do wonder how much input, like, because I assume they have to be approved by the higher-ups at Glitch. I say that like it's a massive company. I assume it has to be, there's one guy, right? There's like one, I forget what his name is, but the guy who interviewed Dana on the lake and the duck. That guy, I assume he has to have final say on what the episodes look like. But I wonder how much of it is just like, I think his rule is like, as long as it doesn't get us banned off YouTube, you're good to go. So I wonder if that's the extent of his creative input and sort of reviewing process. Or I wonder if there's anything else, like if he gives any notes at all on what the team could do or what he might want to see out of it. I'm very curious, because I don't know. 1995 being before they realized how to make good animated movie OSTs implies Lion King has a bad soundtrack. Yeah, I know. It's one of the most insane things I've ever heard in my life. I could not believe what I was seeing. But, like, again, it's just a thing that a lot of people in my generation believe, that if something is old, it has to be bad. If it's older than me, then it has to be bad, because only the most modern, flashiest, high-budget productions are the things worth experiencing. It has to be. Literally, what is left to tell with Coco? I have no idea. Unless if Coco 2 focuses on a different family. But, like, do you think they're gonna... I have very little faith in them doing that. I don't think it's gonna be a Life is Strange situation where it has the same title, but it focuses on completely different characters. I do not foresee that happening at all. I think it's going to be the Rivera family once again, and that is going to be annoying. Or at least it looks... I always gotta have the caveat. It's possible that it might not be. It's possible that it might be amazing. But I hope you can understand why I might have some doubts. The other song was so long for the ending of Toy Story 3. I mean, let me reread the message again to make sure I read it correctly. The music of the beginning of the love letter when I was in the... Yeah, that was the Inkwater Marsh Suite. And again, if you want to know what track I use for each part of the video, I have a full playlist of all the songs, at least as many as are available on YouTube. And then I have, because some of them are not available on YouTube. They were, like when I was making the video, you could find them on YouTube. But then when I went to go put together the list they're not there anymore, so I'm like, fuck, now I can't link to it. But I do have, in the Google document that I have in the description, I linked a comprehensive, like, timestamp list of exactly when each track plays. And if it's on YouTube, I link to it, and if it's not on YouTube, then I just tell you what the track is. And if you can find it, more power to you. I could not. And it might be there now, because especially when it comes to stuff like video game soundtracks, re-uploads can kind of appear and disappear at will. So it was there when I was making it, wasn't there, or it was there when I was editing the video, wasn't there when I was making the list, and then it might be back now for all I know, but I beyond my realm of knowledge. Luke and Kevin. Okay, I wanted to say that the name was Kevin, but then that felt wrong, because when I think of Kevin, the first thing I think of is Kevin Perjurer from Defunct Land, so I'm like, okay, I hope I'm not mixing up the two names. But that was what my instinct was telling me, but I didn't want to say it because I felt like I might have been conflating two things. But yeah, I think, I wonder what level of input they have. Meanwhile, Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean have much better VFX than stuff coming out now. Well, I mean, that's more just to do with the fact that there's so many projects these days that are heavily reliant on visual effects. And by extension, VFX vendors are overworked and underpaid, so they're not able... Like, if you give them time and money, they will deliver exceptional. It's not like they're incapable of creating incredible visual effects. Like, even if you just look at something like Sonic 3... That's a gorgeous movie. That is an absolutely gorgeous movie. I absolutely adore how that film looks. It's not like they can't do it. It's just that they aren't being given the time and resources to do it because there's too many projects that they have to create visual effects for. So it's just... It's butter being spread over too much bread. Sonic 3 is an amazing looking movie, you just wish the script was just as good. The script is, for the most part, good. It's just the middle chunk when you... After the mountain collapses in on itself, and then they go to London for the gun heist, that's when everything falls to pieces. But it's more good than bad. It's certainly the most consistent of the trilogy. Have you seen Looney Tunes back in action? No, I have not. They were given the time with Sonic 3 and it looked amazing. It looked absolutely... I hope Sonic 4 looks as good as Sonic 3 does. I think movie 3 is the best looking of the trilogy, especially the character. I don't even think it's really up for debate as to which is the best looking movie in the trilogy. Not even in terms of raw graphical fidelity, but also in terms of visually striking shots and bold cinematography choices. There's a lot of really smart editing choices, composition choices, and cinematography choices that you can tell that they are developing their craft and they are improving their skills with each passing movie. Which is why you'd think I wouldn't have any reason to be concerned about movie 4 because they have been consistently getting better and better across the board. It's just the bar's been set so high with movie 3, and also the stakes have been set so high with the post-credit scene of movie 3 that you can't help but worry if they will be able to deliver on it when the time comes. But I have my hopes. I have my hopes. I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I've seen the first one. I've seen it 3 times. I watched it once when I was a kid. We rented it on a Redbox, and I was bored out of my mind. We only rented it because I was playing the Lego game. I watched it a second time in film class in high school, and then at that time I really enjoyed it. And then I watched it a third time when it got brought back to theaters in summer 2023, and it was solid. I liked it enough. I have not seen Dead Man's Chest. I've not seen At World's End, and I have not seen On Stranger Tides, nor have I seen Dead Men Tell No Tales. But I know that every single Pirates of the Caribbean fan I've ever met or otherwise talked to has said, never watch the 5th movie. It's a disaster. The fourth movie is a little more contentious. People can't seem to agree on whether the fourth movie is worth watching or not. But the fifth movie, I've never seen anyone say the fifth movie is anything other than pure trash. You're losing to the Lego game. Yeah, that's another line that... Because when you're writing scripts or videos, you kind of aren't really being super conscious about what will be people's favorite line or favorite moment. You're just kind of trying to make the best video you can. And you get so close to it that you don't, it's all just the video to you. It's not like there's one moment over another that that really sticks out to you as something you think is gonna go over well with people. I'm surprised that the Ice Age rant ended up being people's favorite, or a lot of people's favorite part of my D23 video. Mainly because I wasn't even sure if people were going to care, because I imagine a lot of people probably tuned out after I finished talking about Toy Story 5 and didn't stick around for the other D23 stuff, which is understandable. So I was really surprised to see the Ice Age section go over as well as it did with people. Give us money! I don't even know that if I could. I don't even know if I could make my voice do that again if I tried. And by the way, something else you gotta keep in mind is that I recorded that video while I had COVID. I didn't know I had COVID at the time, but I was in the early stages of developing it, and by the time I was done, I was like, oh, my throat really hurts. It hurts more than it usually does after I record a video. And then I took my temperature, and I got tested, and I was like, oh, it's because I have COVID. That's why. Got it. Okay. I probably shouldn't have been recording a video as intense as this today, but that's what happened. So, yeah, that's, I don't... It's one of those lightning in a bottle moments where you just kind of don't even know if you could replicate it if you tried. I will say one thing, though. While I'm recording videos, I've discovered this recently. Well, not discovered, but I remember this again recently. It's fresh in my mind because I was just editing audio today. While I'm recording something, I kind of don't really think very highly of myself. Partially because it's so physically exhausting trying to make my voice do, like, even though you only hear my voice, it's a full body thing when I'm getting really animated and exaggerative and trying to put as much emphasis into my delivery as I possibly can. So I'm mostly just completely sick of it when I'm done, and I don't want to ever think about it again. I just try to give myself as many options as possible so I can hopefully make something worthwhile out of it. But then when I actually sit down and edit the audio, I'm like, okay, there is actually some worthwhile stuff here. It's just you don't realize it in the moment because of how completely drained you are. Alright, we only got one more galaxy to go, and then we will unfortunately have to call off the stream for today. We actually got through the two worlds a lot quicker than I thought we were going to. I blocked out enough time for us to go until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So I could technically keep going if I wanted to, but it's the smart thing to do is just to wait, to hold off. Because I do have stuff I gotta get done today. And plus, not long after you get into World 3, you trigger the Prankster Comet Onslaught. I think it's in Cloudy Court Galaxy, when the Prankster Comets, you start playing catch up with all the Prankster Comets that you've been missing up until this point. So, that's a pretty big thing we'll have to deal with on the next stream. Do we know if lives save in this port? We do not. We'll find, well, the thing is, like, I want to find out, but I also don't want to lose the 70 lives that I've gotten. So, I'm kind of hoping someone who's already played this port more than I have can tell me, if that is the case. But, no, at present time, we do not know if lives save in this port. You like the UI change when playing? I'm neutral on it. I was confused. It's one of those things where you just don't understand why they would change it, because there was literally nothing wrong with the old UI. But, at the same time, it's not like they rearranged the order of things on the screen. They just changed the text font. So it's the kind of thing where you're like, it's strange that they changed it, but you get used to it pretty quickly. I'm entirely neutral on it. So It's not that, I don't even dislike the new font. It's more just like, it's not the one I'm used to. So it, but I adapted to it pretty quickly. Although it also helped that I knew it was going to be different from the trailers, so it didn't catch me off guard. If it did, it might have been a different story. Simple as it wasn't high res enough. But I mean, in Galaxy 1, it still looked really slick and clean and crisp on the 3D All-Stars edition. It's my favorite food, chili. Chili is my favorite. Well, specifically the chili that my parents made for me and that I know how to make. Because everyone makes chili slightly differently. And for that reason, when I've tried ordering chili in restaurants, I often have not enjoyed. Because it's like, most of the time, the chili that's available in the restaurants I've been to is just like a soup. And I do not like soup at all. And that's not... A soupy form of chili is not what my parents made for me as a kid and that I know how to make. So, you know, chili asterisk, and that it's my favorite with the context of a very specific type of chili. Have you had chili from Wendy's? I've never even been inside a Wendy's before, so no. I've been inside a Burger King. I've eaten at Burger King. I've been inside a McDonald's because for Science Olympiad tournaments in high school, that was always the place everyone wanted to go after, both before and after competitions, because sometimes we'd have to drive halfway across the state to get to tournaments, and so we'd get there, like, fresh. Sometimes we'd stay overnight at a hotel, but sometimes we'd just meet up at, like, 4 a.m. in the morning and drive across state and get there before the competition started, which means we'd have to stop for breakfast, so we'd often go to McDonald's for breakfast. Although there was one time we went to Applebee's for dinner before a competition. That was a kind of mix things up for a bit. That was also how I discovered how different McDonald's is nowadays. Like it doesn't match the image I had in my head of it because it's very high tech. There's like full like human body size giant electronic screens you can use to order your stuff. There's like iPads on every table. It doesn't really fit the sort of very vibrant, colorful aesthetic that I envisioned in my head for what McDonald's would look like. So anyway, I've eaten at Burger King, I've been inside a McDonald's, but I've never stepped foot in a Wendy's, nor have I been through the drive-thru of Wendy's. So, no, I've not had chili for Wendy's. Oh, that's unfortunate. Destroyed both of them. You like chili on hot dogs? Okay, Sonic Player 2004. Tell me more. Welcome to grayscale capitalism. It's not even like, I wouldn't even say that it's completely devoid of life. It's just, well, I guess, I don't know. It feels a little clinical, I guess. But there was still some color to be found. I wouldn't say it's as bad as some other instances of just all the personality in life being surgically sucked out of a brand or a corporation, but there are definitely trace elements of it in the McDonald's I went to. Have I ever boarded a tram? I have indeed, because they have trams at the Disney parks. That's how you will get from, if you don't want to walk from the parking lot to the park, which you don't always want to, depending on how close you are to the park. And in the case of the Magic Kingdom Transportation Ticket Center, it's kind of, I think it's mandatory, because you aren't actually parking at Magic Kingdom, you're parking at a generic Transportation and Ticket Center parking lot, from which you can then monorail or boat over to the Magic Kingdom. But for Hollywood Studios, you could technically walk if you wanted to. Again, depends on how close you parked. But I have boarded trams before. McDonald's is some shit from a butt. Hey now, my Science Olympiad team in high school would have a major bone to pick with you on that. They loved their McDonald's. What a cool and unique boss it isn't repeated 3 times. I mean, yeah, but I feel the same way about the Bowser fights in both Galaxy games. I don't really love them in either of them. They both are kind of bleh. If it ends up being true that they removed the 9999 Starbit requirement for Grandmaster Galaxy, then the Bowser boss fights will become the new biggest problem with, well, I guess it would, at that point it would probably then be the fact that you have to keep replaying through the Green Star missions again and again and again in order to get them all, and like you can't just get a green star and then keep exploring the level like you could blue coins in Sunshine. You have to get it, leave the level, and then go play back through the level again. Which I'll tell you right now, they definitely did not fix that. I'll tell you that one right now. But I'm hoping they fix the Starbit thing. And if they did, the green stars would probably, or at least that element of the green stars would probably become the most annoying thing. And then after that, it's the Bowser fights. Have I ever been to a Pizza King before? No. I don't even know what that is. That's the first time I'm hearing the phrase Pizza King. Let me look it up. Pizza King. The nearest one is all the way on the other side of the state, it looks like. So no, I've never been there. But I mean, I don't really go to pizza places anyway. Because, I will say, I kind of broke new ground over the summer when I was overseas. I did have pizza for the first time in a very long time. But I also made that myself, so I trust that more than I would trust a restaurant to cook pizza for me. I'm sure there's places like there's a lot of vegan pizza places in London. I know that we could have eaten at that I just didn't because I didn't feel confident enough. But yeah, that's I wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid because I saw all the advertisements of how cool Chuck E. Cheese was. Where a kid can be a kid. But obviously, going there with the allergies I have would have been a colossally terrible idea. It's a pizza place where you can eat pizza while you watch TV and a train will deliver you your drinks. So that kind of sounds awesome. Now I might have to go to the other side of the state just to see what that is with my own eyes, because that kind of sounds amazing. Okay, unfortunately, I believe we're going to have to call things off here for today. I could technically go a little while longer, but the smarter choice would be to just break things. I mean, I'll still hang out and chat for a little bit, but the smart thing to do would definitely be to call it. Not do any more galaxies. We'll come back. I don't know when the next stream will be. I'll come back probably next weekend, and then we'll do more. Because ordinarily, I would have waited to stream this until the weekend, but the reason I didn't is because I'm leaving this weekend. I have family obligations to attend to, so I'm flying out of state. Otherwise, I would have streamed it over the weekend. But, so that's why I'm streaming during the week, but I should be able to be back next weekend for another Galaxy 2 stream. Yeah, overall, very pleased with this port. No real problems. I thought that it might have been a delayed... I thought it might have been a rehydrated situation where it just takes longer to respawn for no reason. But it looks like that was a one-off. Or, I guess it could also be true that the fast reload in Wild Glide was a one-off. So I guess we need more data to really draw any firm conclusions, but that's kind of it for now. Starbit grind is actively annoying. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. I'm hoping the Starbit grind is gone. Where am I taking a trip to after this stream? I am going to visit my family because my grandmother is turning 80 years old, and we're throwing a surprise party for her. It's been a lot of planning over the last few months, trying to get invitations sorted out, and decorations, and venues, and food, and menus, and all that stuff. It's been a lot, but it's should be all worked out, and now it's just a matter of getting there, and hopefully she likes the party. Done streaming the video game after 2 hours. I told you from the beginning, or I said from the beginning, this is going to be a shorter stream. I don't have all the time in the world today to stream. Plus, I'd rather do it in bite-sized chunks anyway. I might go a little longer next time, although I may not. The thing is, World 3, like I mentioned, is when you have a backlog of prankster comments to account for, so it might take us more than just 2 hours to get through Worlds 3 and 4 when you add on all the additional prankster comments, so I probably won't go that much longer, but we'll see. Thoughts on Greek food? I don't believe I've tried any. Gyro specifically? I do not. I definitely have not had that. Have I ever had food from Spain? No, I have not. You got... And to preempt any potential additional questions that might get asked, I do not have a very adventurous palate because my food allergies can be restrictive. It's like, it's one of the biggest things that's kind of been a hurdle with hanging out with friends is that most people, when they hang out with their friends, they can just be like, all right, you guys hungry? Where do you want to eat? And you can be a lot more adventurous and try new places and try new things. That's not really the case with me because not everywhere I go is a place that could safely feed me. So I have to be a lot more deliberate. I have to be a lot more planning is required to be like, is this place safe? That's why usually when I go out with friends, we go to places that we know very well and that we trust, so I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And if I take a trip overseas, a lot of planning has to go in advance to calling restaurants and asking them about the menu and all that kind of stuff. So that's also part of a major reason why, even though I would like to travel to some places around the world, it's just not very feasible because I already have a hard enough time in the States trying to get people to properly understand what my allergies are and how to safely cook for me. But then when you add in a language barrier on top of that, things get a lot riskier, a lot quicker. So that's I just don't really have a very adventurous palate for that reason. Is Shark Tale the worst DreamWorks movie? Maybe. I'm not sure. It's definitely in the bottom 3, but I don't know if it's the worst. Maybe I'll make a DreamWorks ranking video one day. New challenge video, going to Chuck E. Cheese while lactose intolerant. I believe we call that a suicide note. Just a very picky eater. Only about 3 restaurants in town you go to. Yeah, and that is something that I've kind of thought about is like, is my limited dietary palate a result of the fact that I just can't eat? Like, for anyone who doesn't know, it's dairy, beef, and pork. Which, dairy and beef alone eliminate a huge swath of foods that I could eat. And so, and also, it's easy for trace elements of those. Like, anything that you could cook on a grill, for instance. You may be, like chicken, for example. I'm not allergic to chicken. But if you were to cook chicken on the same place that you cook beef, trace residue of whatever you cooked previously could end up on the chicken, and that alone could trigger a reaction in me. And that's the level of care that needs to be taken, and that's why it's very concerning going to restaurants, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong when it's out of your control. So I've always wondered if is my limited desire to expand my taste palette because I have the allergies, or would that have developed regardless of whether or not I had allergies? Is it just an inherent personality thing, or is it directly because of allergies? I honestly don't know. It's one of those, you'll just never know, but it is kind of interesting to think about. That's how Trevor never went to Dairy Queen because of his allergies. True. True. And another interesting story is that because of my allergies. So only quick question for Chad. If you're putting on a party for kids, if you have a large group of kids under your care that you need to take care of and you need to entertain and feed, what's the #1 thing you do? What's the first thing you do if you're trying to feed a large group of kids? What is the #1 thing you always do without hesitation? No questions asked. Like, gun to your head, you have to order a lot of things for kids very quickly. What do you do? Ask for allergies? Oh, you sweet summer child. So, that wasn't really the... while I appreciate the concern in those answers, ask for allergies, order different options, those are all great answers, but that's not what happens. I guess I should have rephrased. Not what should you do, what actually happens. Because what actually happens is they order, what Avert said, pizza and hot dogs. But usually it's pizza. Pizza is, if you want to feed a large group of kids quickly, the #1 thing that people always do is they order pizza. Which for me is a very dangerous food for me to be around. Because obviously, people like their cheese. Like, even if you make me a pizza that has nothing I'm allergic to on it, and the sauce is good and there's no cheese or anything like that, people around you have cheese and stuff like that on their pizzas. And of course, because of the nature of the food itself, it can drip, it can stick, it gets stuck on your hands, and especially if you're in a place like an arcade, people do not wash their hands. So they just go run around touching everything in sight, and then you touch those same arcade games, and it's not even just stuff that I eat, it's stuff that I touch. Now, obviously, contact reactions are not nearly as severe as full-body anaphylactic reactions that are triggered by ingesting food, but it's still something that you need to be on the lookout for, because then you go into full-body hives, and that's not a pleasant experience for anyone. So while I do appreciate the answers of asking for allergies, that's not a thing that people do. If you don't make your allergies known, they won't think to ask about them. So because of that, I had an after-school acting class that I went to in elementary school. And usually what they would do, for dress rehearsals, and for instance, they would be all-day affairs, and so you'd have to have at least one, if not two meals. So what they would do is they would just order pizza and then call it a day. But that couldn't happen while I was there because obviously it would turn the place into a quarantine zone. And so understanding that trying to find safe alternatives that would make, because kids are picky eaters, like just inherently. So trying to find foods that are safe for me, but also would appease a large group of kids is not a task that most people are willing to take up. So what my parents did is I said, okay, we will handle all the catering. So we would, one by one, take everyone's orders, and then we would physically drive to the restaurants and pick up the food and bring it to the place so that everyone could eat safely, or that I could be around food that was safe for me to eat. And I didn't mind it. Like, I didn't mind doing the work because obviously I'm the one putting this restriction on people and asking people to do this. So, I'm ensuring my own safety by doing this. But I also don't want people to get stuck with, shitty food. So, it was a responsibility we didn't take lightly. And I think it worked out for the best. The other cool thing that's really satisfying is whenever it was my turn to bring in snacks for, classes in school, and my dad would always bake his chocolate chip cookies. Dairy-free chocolate chip cookies, I should say. And the most satisfying thing to me was whenever people would eat them and say that they liked them even more than milk chocolate chip cookies and ask what the recipe was, or if not that, ask where they could buy them. So that felt pretty nice. Because sometimes what you get is people saying, like, man, I could never live with myself if I was you and had your allergies. You don't know what you're missing. It's like, I don't need to hear that. I literally don't know what I'm missing. It doesn't matter. I can't miss what I don't know. So I don't know why you're having this attitude around me. So it's cool when the opposite happens and people are like, wow, this is really cool. You get to eat this all the time. Like, yep, you could too. Nothing's stopping you. It's not restricted. There's no tariffs are getting put on you if you want to buy lactose safe or dairy-free cookies. I promise you, the boogeyman isn't going to come kill you at night for eating something you don't have to. So yeah, that was hopefully you learned something interesting about food allergies for that little diatribe. A lot of people like their pizzas, they just go, man, you're missing out. Yeah, and sometimes it's not even kids, because when you're dealing with kids, like, okay, I kind of understand, because kids don't think before they speak. But I've had chefs and waiters in restaurants tell me that. Not even recently, but when I was super young, like 6 or 7 years old. Why would you say that to a kid? Why would you say that to a kid? I said, search if Wendy's chili is something I can eat. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but I'll look into it and see. Being careful with allergies doesn't guarantee anything. If someone cooks with poor utensils or fries stuff in older grease. Yeah, there's a lot of elements at risk that are only just further compounded when you add on top of it food allergies. You assume I've watched Squid Game? No, I have not. The one clip of Squid Game I used in my D23 video, which is because I know that meme of I've played these games before. Although I will say, when I was scrubbing through the episode trying to find that clip, I did like what I saw. The dialogue seemed pretty engaging, pretty well written. It was a very interestingly shot show. The stage design is pretty cool. So it's a show that I might enjoy if I watched it. The problem is people say that the show kind of falls off after a certain point, and it would make me very sad if I found out that the show ended badly. So I'm reluctant to get into shows that end badly, even if they have a great first season or something like that. How's the Toy Story 1 video going? My plan is to start writing the script tomorrow while I'm at the airport and while I'm on the plane. I actually wrote a whole script while I was on the plane. I've done that before, so I might be able to do it again. It's about a 3-hour flight, so I can make some pretty decent progress in that amount of time. And then, of course, I have the flight back. and I'll have downtime in the hotel while I'm waiting to, because obviously I can't stay with my grandmother because the whole idea is that it's supposed to be a surprise, so I'm staying in a hotel while I'm up there, and I'll have downtime there. There should be plenty of downtime to get a script done while I'm away. That's the current plan, is finish the script. What do I think of this version of Mario Galaxy 2 so far? I think it's just as good as the original game, plus minor quality of life updates such as the removal of the auto-saving box, the introduction of assist mode. Really, it's everything I could have hoped for. I'm just glad to be able to finally play it on Switch. Squid Game is good, but second and especially third seasons are very divisive. That's what I've heard. It's why I'm reluctant to really get into the series. Can I still use Bank Toad? No, they killed him. They fucking killed him. He's just the amiibo guy now. He just tells you he tells you go into the menu, open up amiibo, and if you tap amiibo, they give you star. Will it work again? If I tap him again, will it give me more starbits? Oh. Does that just work infinitely? Oh, well, that really just does work infinitely. Oh, so, huh. That makes me wonder if they did remove the grinding, because if you can farm starbits like this with just touching an amiibo, huh. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes of that. Because I guess he is technically still giving you more starbits. That's, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It is highly unfortunate that Bank Toad had to be sacrificed so Galaxy 2 on Switch could live. Because, like, I can't fathom any reason why they would do that unless they remove the grind requirement. Because it's not like it wasn't like it would. You still have multiple save files you could share them across. It had to be unless they wanted to add an amiibo guy for some reason. But surely there's other places on the Starship Mario you could put an amiibo guy, like literally anywhere. Don't have to kill Bank Toad to do it. Okay. Well, as much as I would love to keep chatting with everyone all day, talking more about movies, games, or food allergies, I guess, I do have to get going. I do, unfortunately, have to have a few more things I gotta take care of today before I leave for my flight tomorrow. But I appreciate everyone, because I don't usually stream during the week. I usually only stream on weekends, because, of course, more people can usually show up for weekend streams than weekday streams. So, I'm happy for everyone who did show up today. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me play Galaxy 2. Hopefully you enjoyed playing Galaxy 2 on Switch if you bought it yourself. And I guess we'll have to leave things here for today. We'll come back probably next weekend. Probably next weekend, the weekend of the 11th. We'll do another Galaxy 2 stream. And in the meantime, hopefully you have a good rest of your week. Hopefully you have a good weekend. And I hope to see you all soon for whatever it is you decide to watch next. Have a good day, everybody.